Welcome everyone to another episode of the Wood from the Trees podcast. I really appreciate every single one of you. And if you want to support the podcast and you like what we're doing, if you could support us on Patreon, we'd really appreciate it. And not only that, but you'll get loads of extra content. You get to join the party. You get to dictate what way it goes. And you could win some prizes. So enjoy the show and I fucking love you. So join us on patreon.com/the Wood from the Trees. And for the price of a small little cheap coffee or a pint, you get all that shit. So don't hesitate. Get to it. Get to it. Sausages.
Yeah.
Shane, nice to meet you.
Well, sir, how are you?
Shane Kelly.
That's me.
Lucan.
Lucan originally, yes.
And big family.
Small family. Grew up initially in Lucan.
How many of you?
Just mother, father, myself, my sister.
Just the two.
Just the two. Small family, yeah.
Were you close, you and your sister, in age?
2 years between us. Difficult times back in the 80s in Ireland, as you can imagine. And
In what way?
my father was a difficult man, to say the least. So much so we walked out with my clothes on my back at 14 years of age. Just
You
to
did?
get away. Yeah, I had to get away. It was either me or him at that stage. And so family dissolved when I was 14.
And were you in school and
Yeah.
did you like school?
Oh, I loved it, yeah. All your mates were there, everything's there. And next thing your world's turned upside down, you have to go.
And what was the catalyst for...
He was a paranoid schizophrenic, I think, and basically violent man. And would, at the flick of a switch, just turn. And anybody in his way, it didn't make a difference who it was, in his way would suffer as a result, you know.
That must have been scary.
When you grew up with it, so I suppose like everything else, you rationalise in your brain up to a point. But it got to the point that I was getting big and bold enough to fight back for myself. So as a result, it was a choice to go or fight. And,
I often wondered when people grow up like that, do you not realise that it's abnormal until you start hanging with other people or see their parents? Or is it you just go, oh, this can't be right? Or
no, it wasn't right. Nothing was right. But the truth of the matter, I think just because we was a council estate as well, I suppose everything was slightly deprived back in the area at the time in the early 80s. And I think it was normal for everybody else as well, as far as I could see, you know. And as a result, and becoming a guard later on, by God, you saw it as well, you know.
what did you do when you left on that day? Can you remember it vividly?
Yeah, I remember it vividly. What happened was, not to get too morbid, and didn't want to particularly start off on this foot, but the truth of the matter was, he bet me into a corner of a stairwell and went upstairs to run a bath to drown me in. And I managed to kick the front door open and crawl out onto the square where we lived. And the neighbour picked me up and walked me up the road to another neighbour's house where they contacted my mother. My mother had to get out a couple of nights previous because he'd flipped at that stage. And then from there, my first experience of the guards was going to the guards to report it. And then from there, family took over and that was it, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell people sometimes they go, holy shit, but no, that's just the way it was at the time, you know, and you accepted a certain amount of it up to a point, then just, you know.
So did life get fundamentally better after that? Or was it...
Well, obviously, yes, for that. We didn't have the problem was we literally walked out with the clothes in our backs. We had nothing. And I'm going to mention a man's name here, Liam Lawler, was local TD at the time, and a friend of my mother's worked for him, and she got us, believe it or not, a caravan in Clondalkin on a basically a service site, county council site up there, just to get us away. So we'd nothing. There was a caravan and us, and not even so much as the price of slight pan.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And were you still afraid of him at that stage?
Of course, yeah. You're afraid of your life. I still went to school in Lucan, so I passed by the end of the road sort of every day, trying to avoid anybody seeing you because he didn't want them to know where you were, because there was always the possibility you'd turn up. So I remember one time we went on a football trip with the local football team, and they had to pick me up from another location and then drop me off from the airport to another location, so nobody could know where I was getting off in case I got back to him, you know. So that was
a strange way to live your teens.
Yeah. It was like everything else. You can dwell on stuff like that, or you can sort of educate yourself as a result of it and make sure it never happens again, you know. But
And what about your sister? Did you get closer because of
no, funny enough, no. My sister went to live with an aunt, the far side of Luke, and my father's sister. She went to live with him for a while, then ended up back in the house, I think, because she felt sorry for him. Then she had to get away from him again, and then over the years drifted back and forth, trying to take care of him as much as she could. Eventually she convinced us to try and make amends. When I was in my 20s, I was building a house at the time. He was a builder, so she thought it'd be a good idea to put us back together and save me money, get him back in the family. That lasted about 4 weeks into the build, and he flipped on the side one day and threatened to kill my wife. So that was him gone forever.
Fuck.
My wife was 8 months pregnant at the time. I was in work, and I hadn't turned up the evening before to pay him due to the fact it was guard time. I ended up with a prisoner, and as a result I got stuck in work. Rang him, told him, listen, I'll be with you as soon as I can. Abused me down the phone, and then I said, right, okay, I'm not going to go New Year because one of us will lose their head. So I sent my wife up the next day to pay him we were going on holidays, pay for 3 weeks worth of wages for the boys that were building the house, and he flipped on her. So good luck.
Did you flip?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, there was that was the final conversation I ever had with him. Ever. And that was back in, I was 25 years ago I built that house, so that's the last time I taught him. So yeah.
So when you were in school, did you always want to be a guard?
Yes, nothing else.
Always?
Nothing else. My mother will tell you that still to this day, that nothing else. It was going to be nothing else. And I never wanted to be anything else. That's all I ever wanted to be. And probably due to the background of the family, it could have been a lot to do with it as well, you know. Maybe because you wanted a bit of justice somewhere along the line that I had an inkling that I was going to be a guard.
So you done your leaving?
Did leaving cert, good leaving cert, happy with me leaving cert, and went working menial jobs around just to tread water till I got an application for an application. That was it. They were advertising back in, must have been 92. Put the application in, got the call fairly quickly. Walked into the door in Templemore in March 93.
Was that like for you, like, oh, this is...
Oh yeah, but it was all I ever wanted to do. But I also didn't have a fucking clue as to what I was doing. You know, I had no background in it. Probably the opposite.
What was it like, your first day?
Oh, day one was an absolute shock to the system. You're building outside here sort of reminds me of one of the blocks in Templemore, you know, it's sort of a U-shaped block. You walk in the door, in fairness, you were met by another junior guard who was down training there, and he saw walk you to your room to show you where, and it was, little room to yourself. It was quite nice, actually, to be honest with you. You throw your bags in, and then you straight down to the lecture theatre for a debrief. It's the start of your programming. So that was day one, and it just...
Was it not what you thought it would be at all?
No, nothing. No. I be honest with you, I tell you, cost of the truth, I didn't know what to expect. I hadn't a clue. I had no knowledge of anything to do with it. I'd read what you read in the newspapers or whatever it was in books at the time. You got interviewed prior to it by the local inspector, etc. And he might give you a bit of a briefing on what they expect. But no, totally foreign.
Was it hard?
Yeah, we went through the old system of training, which was 2 years in total, which was 6 months in Templemore. That first 6 months, the novelty wore off very quickly. The novelty of getting there very quickly wore off after 2 or 3 weeks because you had 11 or 12 subjects on the go at the time. You had fitness, it was an institution down there as well. You weren't being watched every 24/7 either, so that I couldn't handle as such. And I was also engaged to be married at the time as well, so that was difficult as well.
What age were you again?
I was walked in the door at 22. Yeah.
Well, you met the love of your life very early.
Yeah.
How'd you meet her?
How'd I meet her? Another story. Local. How'd I meet her? Initially, she was going out with a friend of mine. That's how I met her first. And
you robbed her.
I think I'm going to slag her off now, and I always say this to her just to wind her up that she chased me, I met her one night and I gave her a jacket and she kept it, and then obviously returned the jacket, so that was an excuse for another meeting. Gave her the jacket again. I know this jacket was going back and forward a couple of times before we actually. And then I met her in one of the local pubs in Clonalcombe one night, and she was trying to fend off another lad that was trying to make a move on her, and she said, "Oh, here's my boyfriend." When I walked in the door, and from that night on, that was it. Then, you know,
Still together.
still together. Yeah, we're 30 years married actually now. at the end of
That's
the month.
awesome.
Yeah, 30 years married at the end of the month. So but she was
Shout
there.
out to her.
Oh yeah, fair play to her. She's a patient woman. A patient woman. But no, as I said, Templemore was became difficult for me, as I said, the more I went on, because it was intense. And then after the year's training, you at the time we were called yellow packs, where they throw you out in the street and you'd have a yellow patch on your shoulder. They're all blue now for the students, but you did a 4 to 6 months out between the station and placements. So I did Pearse Street in Dublin City Centre, which was a great station to learn in.
Why?
Just because you're busy, you're constantly on the go, and you're engaging with people constantly, with the likes of Grafton Street and Temple Bar and all the rest. So
You're out on the street.
Yeah, on the street. You're out basically with a tutor guard, and they're bringing around and teaching the ropes. Now you'd have a good knowledge of the law at that stage, but it's just but you have no powers. You're literally there to observe as such. You obviously give a dig out if something happened or whatever. There's plenty of nights that there'd be a row outside the nightclub, wherever you give the lads a dig out, you know. And that was that part of it. And then you do your placements with different specialist units, etc., etc.
What's a specialist unit?
For instance, SDU, Special Detective Unit. They looked after the anti-terrorists at the time. You do a week or two with them. You do a week in traffic, doing traffic to stuff. You might work with a local jail officer who looks after the youth, or a thing called the collator, which is the fellow who gathers intelligence.
Is that to give you a taste of each section to see which one you want to go do?
No. Just give you a broad stroke of the job and what the job's about, and how, for instance, you get a piece of intelligence, how it's gathered, how it gets in, how it's disseminated in further to, say, the detective unit, and then the detective unit go off and do their jobs in relation to it. So you get a broad stroke of how the job works. Like when you come out of Templemore and you go to your first station, you're just
there,
a number really when you were arriving day one, and that's it. So I went back for the 3 months for exams, and then you come back out. You're appointed then. Appointed in May '94. Tested, should I say, May '94, and you come out and you're given a station. Then I end up in Donnybrook.
That'd be a good one, wouldn't it?
A total fucking culture shock for me.
Really?
Yeah,
don't pull Gay Byrne. Don't fucking pull Joe Duffy.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't even that. It was just kind of a different word from what I used to. I didn't even know what Donnybrook was, to be honest. Even though I was from Dublin, I hadn't been out that side of the city at all. Driven through maybe on the way to the likes of the RDS or to a match or something like that, but never seeing the area. And it's so opulent and so much money out there. And it's yes guard, no guard, 3 battles, full guard. And
what did you have to do every day?
Well, initially, there were big units, so you generally be paired with somebody and you go off and you walk the beat, or you pop in a car another day, you experience that, and then they do each day. They give you initially try and get you a bit of everything so that you get a feel for. We post and all the rest with the likes of the British Embassy and the US Embassy, etc., etc. They had to be covered as well, and then just your day-to-day guard stuff that used to go on as well.
Today it seems like the guards, or any guard I know, is just inundated with paperwork.
Oh, it's shocking. Yeah, it's shocking. And it's not so much paper. Back in my day, it was paper. Everything was on the paper. Now it's a computer. And it's just, I feel sorry for the young recruits coming through now, because they're just hammered by the computer. There's a system now with Pulse, and as a result of the controversy, the so-called controversy in relation to the guards supposedly getting rid of calls, which I don't believe they did. As a result of that, they brought in a system now that every phone call that comes into control gets a Pulse number.
Every phone call?
Every phone call gets a Pulse number.
That's an awful lot of data.
So little Johnny kicking the ball against the wall and Mary down the road giving out about him gets a Pulse number. And as a result, that Pulse number gets a guard. And as a result, that guard has to go and deal with that call and resolve it.
Or it stays there.
Or it stays in his screen.
Oh my God.
This is where it hammers the guard. It stays in his screen. Goes from green to orange to red. And then eventually, when it gets to red, somebody in management either gives him a job to do it, or he has to somehow get rid of it as quickly as he possibly can, because it's going to haunt him.
Who thinks up of this shit?
I don't fucking know. And whoever did it, don't get me wrong, I understand it. It's more to do with seeing that everything that member does, an individual member does, you can actually tell every call they've gone to as a result.
It's still not practical.
It's not practical. It's far from practical. For instance, a young fella now today, say, working in Blanchardstown, and they stick him in the car. I know lads that have a couple of hundred calls on their screen that they've never a chance to get to because they're inundated. And today he'll be sent out in the car. He'll get 20 or 30 calls a day. You know, and it likes the Blanchardstown on top of the calls that he already has. And he's trying to manage all of them on top of the workload that he already has. Now, some of them he could try and get rid of, but then it's up to management. He has to meet a criteria to get rid of the call or get rid of it. Or there'll be a civilian down in Castlebar that'll let him get rid of it if that's the case. And then if it doesn't, it'll sit on a screen until he can get to it to try and resolve it. And then there's more work coming in on top of him, more work coming in. Every day he goes into work, he's going to get more on the screen. So as a result, that is a stick to beat the young member now. And before, when I joined the job, the sergeants in charge were brilliant. They looked after all the young members. They took them by the hand. They brought them through everything. They got into trouble. They look after them, made sure they got themselves out of it or resolve the issues. Now they don't have the time because they're trying to manage these calls. And don't forget, they might have a unit, say, with 15 or 20 lads, and they're managing the 15 or 20 lads screen.
That's like an exponential problem.
Oh, 100%. And and it's early in its day. I think it's probably year 3 of it now, and it's only a worse.
Fuck.
Put it this way, just before I retired last year, and before I did, I'd for the first 25 to 26 years of my job, I'd never seen anybody leave the job. You never left. Nobody ever left. You went, you retired, and then you went on and did something else. Now they're leaving on the droves.
Yeah.
You know.
And I know so many guards that just hate their job now.
Yeah.
And it's not that long ago. I'm not an old, I might look like I'm old, but I'm not. But if you were a guard, or if you were a postman, or if you were, like, you've made it. You're there, you're the guy.
Yeah.
You have a good job. And now it's like, fuck, they're treated like shite.
Treated like shite, and there's so many, there's shit money as well. And there's so many jobs that you go in, obviously you're vetted, you go through the training, you get out the far side. Then you realise it's shit. Give it a year or two, and then they're going to the likes of Facebook or Google or these companies there, and they're loving to hire the guy because he's had been fed. He's gone through great training. He's good qualifications. Let's take him in and we'll train him up and start him at 50 or 60 grand a year instead of 26 or 27 grand he's getting at the guards. Why wouldn't he? And why would you take the abuse for it either? That's the
Yeah, exactly. And when you're in training, do you learn like how to fight? Do you learn hand-to-hand combat?
Yeah, no, there was a bit of that. There's a bit of self-defense, and the self-defense classes, and there would be. And in fairness, the lads, I trained with lads that were rugby players. I used to play a bit of soccer, so it'd be grand. I do a bit of running, wherever. But these lads were rugby players and had represented either the guards or the province or whatever, and you'd be down there, and you'd be rolling around the mat, beating the shit out of each other there as well. Because the only way to learn was to go and do it. So that part was great, and I used to love that myself. But no, you'd be beating the shit out of each other down.
So how long did you stay doing basic Garda stuff until you went, I think I want to do more?
How it worked for me was, I became a detective officially in 2007.
Is that hard to do?
Yeah, it's difficult, especially in Dublin. How it works is there's X amount of detective positions in the DMR. And what happens, each district has its quota of detectives. So what you've often seen is lads that are plain clothes, they're actually detectives, what we used to call them Buckshee or DDUAs. And what they are, they're unappointed. They're brought in to, like an apprenticeship or such, to try and get up to a level that you can go. And then when they do a review and then interview for detective spots, that they have been there, have done the work. And then each individual district might have, say, 2 or 3 positions in a 3 or 4 year period, so they will be advertised, and then you might find that 40 or 50 lads will go for the 2 or 3 positions, and Jenny, whoever's in situ, hopefully will get the job. But what happened to me was I was in a small station, got appointed, and there was no position for me in that small station, so I had to move to a larger station that had a position. Which sort of was a kick in the teeth for the lads who were in that station looking for that position. Blaming on here, that's just politics. But I ended up going from Racool back into Ballyfermot, Haven't been in Ballyfermot previous to that.
So did you have to walk in like the big dick in town? You know, there's a new sheriff.
No, no. Listen,
I'm the boss now. Respect my authority.
No, it wasn't. How it worked was, you come into a detective office and there was already lads there in situ, and as I said, a couple of Buckshee members, and then I walked in as an appointed member. So you're appointed, you're a detective. You are what you are. You're no more or less than anybody else in the office. But having said that, you're sort of safe, I suppose, because you had your position as well.
So what does detective do?
Now here we go. They call it headline crime, I suppose, the way to look at it. So murder down to burglary, such, depending how busy you are. As I said, I did. I was supposed to do a 3-month stint at Ballyfermot. I did 8 years.
8 years?
Yeah, as a detective. And fabulous place to learn, fabulous place, because there was so much going on. And between gangland, you had murders, you had kidnappings, you had all the rest that was going on. And just the politics of the area as well that you had to be aware of. And
like what?
Just how the gangs worked, who they worked with,
So do you have to be really well versed in all that?
You'd want to be, yeah. You catch on to it very quick. In fairness to the local members there, they know what's going on the street as such.
Is it like in the movies? Like, did you have snitches?
Yeah.
So is it actually like that? So you're going out in the car every day. Are you in your plain clothes?
Yeah. And
you're pulling up and you're picking names like train day again. And you're chatting to them.
Yeah.
Or are you just building relationships with all these people around?
See, that's now managed again. Years ago, that used to be you'd have your couple of lads that you could rely on for your bit of info, and but if it was decent enough, okay, you'd pass it on, or you'd look after it yourself. Now it all has been managed because they don't trust us anymore. They do it obviously for reasons between the 80s and the 90s. What went on with, I would presume, higher up snitches, etc., etc. But now the whole system is handled by. There's guards that are appointed specifically to deal with touts, issues, whatever. They do. So what you do is you get your information, then you pass it on, and they try and take them on from there.
So when you're getting information, is that on actual crimes that have happened, or to keep a handle on what might happen?
Both. You have to be for both, yeah. So, you might get a tip off something's going to happen, whatever, or murder's going to happen, or somebody's in trouble. Somebody, Johnny down the road's losing a bit of gear and he's going to get a bullet for it, he doesn't pay up.
And what do you do then?
Well, now, once your information comes in, you have to, what's called a gym form has to be served on. So it goes through management all the way up and then comes all the way back down. Okay, you have to serve a form and let him know that he's going to get a bang, or the possibility he's going to get a bang. And then as a result, the local DDO will keep an eye on him the best they can.
How often does that work out?
That he get a bang?
Yeah.
Regular enough.
Can you remember the first murder that you went out to?
Yeah. You remember them all because all for different reasons. All the deaths. I mean, that's one thing, I suppose, and the downside of the job is the death. I never really had a problem with dead bodies and like that, but gruesome and all as they were, I saw that how they rationalise in my brain. But the devastation it causes, I suppose, is the hard part in dealing with families and the aftermath of it.
Because you have to deal with everyone, don't you?
100%, yeah, you do. Yeah. My first ever dead body was a traffic accident on Pembroke Road, I think it was in Ballsbridge. Poor and unfortunate, was run over by a cement put truck and cut in half. In front, I was literally 20 seconds after having I arrived, and it was reported that night as a child because it was that small. And you deal with it, you do what you have. He died in my hands, but. And in fairness, at the time, it was a changeover shift in Vincent Hospital, so there was doctors and nurses and all, and seeing them easily. Nothing I could do for the poor unfortunate, but that was it. And that was the first one I ever had.
And how do you gather evidence for that?
Well, that's, in fairness to me, at the time, I was young, and the older members sort of take over, and they look after all that end of stuff. Generally, what happens is a sergeant will be appointed to go and look after the actual investigation itself. My evidence would be just a statement as to see what went on, and that would be from there. Okay, and then unfortunately, somewhere along the line, there's going to be a coroner's court, and then you'll probably have to deal with the family there just to let them know what went on, as in didn't suffer or whatever. You discuss that with them just to let them, give them a bit of peace of mind, I suppose. In the end, murders are different in a sense. Generally, most of the murders I dealt with would have been sort of gang orientated or shootings, or family related. A lot. We went through a period in Ballyfermot where we were juggling about 5 murders at one stage.
5 murders?
Yeah,
At
would have
one
been.
time?
At the one time, as a unit, yeah. We were quite successful with them as well, which was great. It was all contained into one area. It's a very small area. Everybody seems to know what's going on. Nobody will tell you, so you're limited in the information you're going to get back. But so it all depends on what evidence you can gather at the time, And
when you're called out to a murder, is it when you walk in, are you gathering most of the evidence that you're going to need in the area of what you're looking at, the crime scene, or is it the information that you go collect after?
Well, what happens is immediately you declare a scene. The scene is declared. So basically, get in, have a look, immediately see what's there, and then get out. As in, contain the scene, get scenes of crime in. That's what happens. They gather as much information as they can forensically, so that you're not touching or interfering, and that's very important. To be honest, most of the murders are resolved with DNA or blood samples or fingerprints or whatever. Phones are very important as well. So phones are saying they have to be gathered forensically as well, and they have to be dealt with.
The phone of the victim?
Yeah, because it could be information. There's a meeting. They're at the going to an area for a reason, and next thing they're dead. So there's information on their phone. So that has to be gathered.
Have you ever more than one dead person in one place?
Have I had more than one dead person in one place? Yeah, well, I won't discuss it because it's a bit delicate. But yeah, it was an incident there, quite famous incident, to be honest with you. So that was. I wasn't here at the time. Thank God I was away and on holiday when it happened. But we were home a couple of days later, and we deal with the automat, as in the statements, etc., and that had to be done. In relation, it was difficult. I would say it was difficult. Now, I have to say the guards did a wonderful job in investigating it, and it was in the media, was what it was, and the truth of the matter was very difficult, very sad, and just the devastation in the neighbourhood as a result of it as well is shocking. When you see, especially this related to children. So as a result, it was very difficult.
And you have to talk to everyone. Like, are you sitting down?
Everybody. You can talk to anybody. What happens is, I go back to the start. So forensic in, they'll do their bit, okay? And what you do then immediately is, especially if you're in there, is try and get some information from somebody, whether it be the person who discovered or a person who rang to call in or whatever, which is very important. And from there, what will happen is, after a certain amount of evidence gathered, they call a conference. So you often hear an incident room's been set up. And what happens is, an incident room set up, the senior investigating officer will call in all detectives. We'll all go into a room, and anybody's available, to be honest, will go in. We'll all sit in and we'll trash through what jobs need to be done immediately. So in other words, job number 1 is generally first member saying he's get a statement. Then job number 2 is generally 999 calls. So who made the call? Can't get to talk to them. And the jobs are dished out. One job will lead to 100 jobs. So you'll go out, you'll be given a job, you go and talk to the person they saw, whatever. And as a result of that information, you'll go and you'll get more work. And that's how the information is gathered. So
that must be an awful lot of information.
Huge amount. Whoever's the person in charge has to disseminate and get through it, and that's the other thing. Whereas a detective, your job is to go out and just gather that information, get as much information as you can, whether even it might be minuscule. Somewhere down the line it could come back, and it just be important. Something that somebody says, something that somebody saw, whatever, and get that in, and then that's what information then cuts through, and whether somewhere down the line there may be arrest. So that's the information that has to be put back then.
So when you gather loads of information and you think you have a suspect, do you have do you deal with that suspect?
Yes.
And you have to have conversations with him and try and trash out in your head whether you can believe him or not, or whether you can. Do you go through this question that I'm going to ask him is going to lead to this, and I'll catch him out here? Like, are you going through all that with a fine-tooth comb before you have that conversation with him?
Yes, generally would. If it's prepared, yes. Sometimes what happens is you'll get an incident where you get a suspect in directly out there, and you're just going through with the evidence that you're gathering at the moment, that time, and you're putting it to them. Like some murders, etc., you would have time to prepare, so you'd know before going in, and a plan will be put in place by the team, the investigation team, as to what you're going to go with, and what stage you're going to hit them at, and what information you're going to try and gather. Now, listen, 99 times out of 100, they'll sit there and say no comment, and or call you a fat bastard or do whatever to try and put you off asking a question. But the truth of the matter is your job is to put the question to them and try and get the information. And that's how it works. It's a game.
Do you ever be scared talking to these people? Like if you're going around and you're talking to these people that are snitches, obviously there's snitches on the other end saying that guy's a detective.
Nah, there's lads have been followed home. I was lucky. I saw it happen to me once, but I got away with it. But I know lads have been followed home, or lads whose house have been targeted, or whatever. And I know it's a common issue, especially in the city centre. Lads that are sort of living around the city centre and working in there. That the chances are that it'll follow them home somewhere along the line. That's something you'd have to be aware of. All right, yeah.
Do you ever have a scary situation where someone done anything or tried to attack you? Or?
I've been attacked. I've been battered out over the years. I've broken every bone in my body now at this stage. Yeah. So no, you always get yourself in scenarios that somebody will put up to you somewhere along the line. I've broken my hand numerous times. I've been kicked, bitten, jumped on, whatever, set upon by numerous lads as well. Yeah.
And if that happened now, people would clean the guards, wouldn't they?
Well, it depends on, listen, the truth of the matter is you don't get help anymore, that's the other thing. Whereas before, somebody might give you a bit of a dig out. You might be on your own, it might be 2 years, and it might be set upon, say you've come across a row outside a pub, and it'd be 2 years, and next thing there's just 20 lads around, and they all want to fight. Whereas before, you might get a bit of a dig out. Now, they just take their phones out and record it. That's the problem now. No, there's no help anymore. There's no assistance anymore. It's very, very seldom. You'll see the odd story and the odd bit of video of somebody giving have a go here, or come in and give you a hand. And fair play to them. In
your career in the guards, did you watch the whole thing get progressively worse and harder to do your job? Or did criminals get difficult more?
No, I tell you what happens. I found... I always give out about it. CSI, Miami, and all these programs have made it more difficult. Everybody became all of a sudden forensically aware.
Yeah.
And they were wearing gloves, and they were getting rid of the phone, and they were leaving their own phone at home, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So as a result, they became aware. Obviously, they were aware as well from information that they were getting in court from the guards.
And did the technology not help you on the other end as well?
100%, of course it does. But because the technology is there, there's always a way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Phone technology is amazing. So the fact you can triangulate to one in a very short distance where a phone was at any moment in time is brilliant. CCTV is always brilliant as well, where you can gather up information very quickly, There was a murder one time. A hitman was shot.
A hitman?
We'll talk about that in a minute. Hitman was shot inside his house, and they left the area. The driver and the gunman left the area and burnt their car out. We're within 200 yards of where it happened, because it's all in a very confined area. But they made a balls of burning out the car. So they threw a petrol bomb in the back, but didn't crack the window. So no air was getting in, so the fire never really took. And as a result of that, the gloves and the hats that were used, and the gun was not badly damaged. But from the guns and the hats, we were able to find out that they were bought in Dunn stores the day before, because of the tags on them.
Oh, yeah.
And the tags on them were specific to items that had only arrived into a certain store the day before. So the first sale of those two items happened the day before in a certain store close to where the murder happened. So that was grand. But anyway, as a result of that was evidence, which obviously was good to put against them, and in fairness, one of them was convicted of it. But the CCTV was damning on that day as well. He in particular left the area. He was seen leaving the area, walking down to a local chipper where he met his girlfriend. Got a bag of chips, hopped on the bus, CCTV the bus going to a shopping centre, I won't name it. She goes and buys him a tracksuit. Fair play to her. He goes in to the Jacks, comes out in the new tracksuit and his bag beside him, leaves the area, and they get a taxi. CCTV sees him get a taxi out of the area. So the guards got a tip off he'd done it and hit the house that evening. Just as he was throwing the bag of clothes that he'd used in the murder, was recovered in gunshot residue into the skip outside the house. He didn't have that sense to burn them. But we had the evidence of the CCTV all the way through, down to the clothes that he's wearing.
Placing him at every scene.
And even it was the same bag that he'd put the clothes into and threw them into the skip then afterwards. And if anyone's convicted of the murder. So.
When you're dealing with people that can kill someone, walk in and have a bag of chips, and you're dealing with that day in, day out, does it make you think, God, I am afraid to walk down the road here. There's fucking psychos everywhere. Or do you go home and hang with your family and think,
Yeah, I think as soon as your shift is over, you're done. Yeah, you have
Really?
to. Yeah, you have to. You can't bring it home. My beloved missus, who's married to me 30 years, would have fuck all of an idea what I'm damaging during my day.
was there any you couldn't help but bring home? Was there any that stuck with you?
It's children's stuff would, yeah, that affect you. Anything to do with kids whatsoever. You tend to come home and have a chat about it, to trash it out. But stuff, going to a scene of murder, you wouldn't be going home and saying, "Oh, you won't believe what I saw today." You wouldn't discuss that at all. You wouldn't have a clue. Even down to trials, stuff that come out, you wouldn't have a clue. So keep it to yourself, or keep it among the lads, and you trash out and you slag and you joke. And the black humour is great as well, and slagging and joking over that, and that's where you got rid of it.
Did you ever have? No, this is my brain working.
Go on.
Did you ever have an arch nemesis that you were trying to take down for ages? Did you ever have a guy that you were like, I will take him down someday? I'm gonna get him if it's the last thing I do.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, no, listen.
Picture up in the wall and you're throwing stuff at him.
Listen, there's
the threads going around there. And you're looking at it and you're drinking a cup of coffee and you're looking, I'm going to get that motherfucker.
No, listen, there might be a lot of piss off somewhere along the line, and just, 100% you do your best to be there when he fucks up. Yeah.
And are they just so clever they don't fuck up, or do they surround themselves with so many?
Yeah, no, the lads, especially top of the gangs, they don't touch anything themselves. Generally, it's all the minions that do it.
So are they really clever?
No, not particularly. Not particularly. I mean, even look at your top of the range now and your cartels and the famous ones that we have here at the moment. I mean, somewhere along the line they're going to get their comeuppance. Like, they had to be lucky all the time. The guys already had to be lucky once, and that's how it works. Or they'll piss somebody off that'll pop them off. And that's how the whole community works. Like, especially in Dublin, in some of these areas, that life is worth fuck all, and they live as if they're your man or fucking Scarface, and Tony Romano. They all think they're him. Like, every house you raid has a picture of Scarface in the wall. Every house you raid, every house you fucking raid. It's unreal. It's like he's God. And they all have a picture, and that's the way they want to live their life.
So they know it's going to come to an end.
Yes, they do. Of course they do. And they live that lifestyle. They know that, and their friends are shot, and they're all and they're looking and they're crying, they're whinging, and they're still doing it. Oh, it's shocking out there, and the lack of, I don't know, it's lack of trust, but it's lack of community. Just you do not talk. We had a case once where there was a murder outside a illegal rave, and there was a young fella stabbed, and a friend of the mother's saw it happen, ran straight to the mother's house to tell her, Johnny's not been stabbed by such and such a person. And we knew that. And the mother came in to be interviewed and wouldn't tell us. So her sons had been killed, and she wouldn't share that information. And as a result, if we had the information, that would, point the finger in the right direction, but she shut up shop and wouldn't tell us. And you're pleading and begging, listen, this could solve your son's murder.
Why is she afraid?
There's that, yeah, there is that. I'm sure,
there this culture of, I don't want to be a rat.
That's a huge amount of it as well. But the truth of the matter is fear, especially in these communities. They're small enough, and everybody knows everybody has his business. They all live in each other's ear. And there is in Dublin that they go and rob their neighbour's house next door. Don't give a shit. They go, like, they talk about not shitting in their own doorstep. No, that doesn't count. They walk across the road, they walk in the door, and they rob their neighbour. No problems with them whatsoever.
Must be a hard way to live.
But listen, you've seen videos, the likes of what's going on, the likes of Cherry Orchard and all the rest there, and that's, for the guard, that's who, especially anybody who's walking around there, those areas, or in the likes of Blanchardstown or Finglas and all this, that's what goes on. And
are all these people armed? Have they guns?
Guns they're not readily available. They're not they're not readily available. Now, when the Eastern Europeans sort of came back in the early to mid 2000s, when they started arriving here, we did see a sort of influx coming with them. Their gangs, they definitely brought them with them. We had a gang walking up the back of where I was walking in West Dublin, up in the mountains behind us, and they were robbing the Lithuanian gang, and they were robbing just Lithuanians. That's all they were doing. Going around the country, robbing the Lithuanians, kidnapping the Lithuanians, stripping their houses, stripping their bank accounts, robbing their cars, robbing their motorbikes. And they were all caught in the house behind the station where I worked. Because the Lithuanian people didn't trust the police, wouldn't report them. It was seemingly headline stories in the newspapers in Lithuania, but the people in Ireland didn't know about it.
Wow.
And it was all done through their websites that they were, their likes of their done deal, that they were meeting to say somebody was selling a car and these lads arrive, sit in the back of your car to have a spin in, and then a gun to the back of your head and be brought up to a stables in this place, tied up, bet the shit out, take the keys to your house, go and strip your house, get your PIN number, strip your bank account. And that was going on. And that gang were operating here for a couple of years doing that. With 3 guns, we did a search in the house that before day one, there was 3 guns found in the house. I think there was 27 or 28 stolen vehicles. Everything in the house was stolen. Everything. And these were families living together, this gang. It was couples, kids, all involved, all living in the one house.
What's the youngest murderer you ever heard of?
Murderer or murdered?
Murderer.
Murderer. We were worried about a young fella, not too far from, I won't mention the state, but anyway, close enough. He had Asperger's syndrome. His mother was worried about him, that she thought he was involved. And he would have been about 14 or 15. But because of his syndrome, he was an ideal candidate for the likes of doing that, because he'd have no empathy or sympathy or whatever it is, it's in their brain that stopped them from doing that wouldn't have stopped them from doing. So the gangs were using him in particular and grooming him in particular for that reason.
Is there hitmen out there?
Yes. Families of them.
Families of hitmen?
Yes, all you have to Google it and you'll find them. They're there. There's a couple of them in Ballyfermot, I know. A couple of different families.
And are they like just lunatics, or are these really precise professionals?
No. There's not.
They're just lunatics with nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. Bredford, I believe. They're Bredford. One family in particular, the main man is lethal. And of all the interviews I've ever done, he shot a guy. There was a murder in Newcastle County, Dublin, and the babysitter happened to be a bit of a gouger as well. He was minding the house, heard the shots, went to run up the chap was shot in the bedroom. Went to run up the stairs and he heard the shots and met the gunman coming down the stairs. And he jumped over the banisters. And he said just before he jumped, he said, I saw his eyes. He said, I knew he was dead, because he's the evilest eyes he's ever seen in his life. And the gunman took up the gun, shot him through the back of the jaw and came out his mouth, smashed through, pushed out his teeth. But he lay there and played dead. He thought he was dead, he said, but he played dead anyway. And he was afraid of his life that he was going to bleed out on the floor. It took him about 10 minutes to realise there was nobody else in the house, and then he was grand and managed to get himself to hospital. But the fella who shot him, we interviewed him afterwards, well known for other hits around the city. He was caught eventually, I think, and is doing time now. But his interviews, just to look at him, you knew pure evil, just in his eyes. You just knew. I asked him outside. You get to chat outside sometimes. You know, kind of outside in interview.
Off the record, kind of.
Yeah, you go for a fag, you know, and whatever. And one of the questions I asked him: do you sleep at night time? And his simple answer was no. No, but he didn't give a shit. But his father was a taxi man. He used to drive the gun to the scene in the taxi, wait for him to come along, do the exchange. They'd have to go 200 or 300 yards up the road. He'd do his hit and then go. So, and he might get the brother to drive him away. But the taxi man was caught with the gun going to a hit one day, but he couldn't prove that he knew the gun was there. Good tactics on his behalf. You know, like everything else, eventually they come around, they make a mistake, or information comes out what's going to happen. The guards will be sitting there waiting for it.
So when the guards go out to these guys' house to question them or ask them to come in, do they open the door going, yeah, I'll go in with you, I don't mind? Or are they going, what are you here for? Or, I didn't do anything wrong. Or do they just know how to play the game? Is it a game?
Yeah, it is a game, yeah. Yeah, I suppose that's the way to look at it. It is a game. They've...
I'll get you the next time.
No, they've gone through the system. They know what to do. They come in and say nothing. Simple as. The solicitor advise them, they'll say nothing, and that's just it. And you'll give them all your evidence that you have, because you have to present the evidence to them, and they'll know exactly where they stand, and that'll work from there. That's one thing, unfortunately, I suppose probably is in other countries as well, but definitely in Ireland, that the system is geared towards the accused. We, as a force, give them everything in disclosure. Everything you have goes to the defence. We get nothing back until the day of court. So we don't know. They come up with their surprise on the day or wherever.
Are most of the surprises got to do with technicalities?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, technicality. Yeah.
Have you seen evil people, murderers, get off over just technical stuff?
Yeah. I've seen murders just get manslaughter. It should be 100% murder, and the jury's just. I saw a fella who was stabbed from behind 3 or 4 times in the side of the neck. CCV was 10 yards away, crystal clear, HDCV showing all. There was a bit of a schmozzle. 2 women were fighting. This lad came in to break it up. The perpetrator comes down the stairs, sees what's going on. You see him going back up the stairs and come back with 2 knives. It hits your man 2 or 3 times in the side of the neck from behind. He doesn't even know what happens to him. Stands up, goes to walk out the door, hold on to his neck. His brother walks in the door. Your man stabs the brother in the arm. They go out, fall outside, out into the path. Schmozzle finishes, goes outside, and within 2 or 3 minutes he bled out. The guards arrived a very short time afterwards and tried to save him. His family were in the way, and basically lifting his legs, tipping the blood out. And the guards were trying to stop it, but there was more than that. Anyway, neither here nor there. But he was only done for manslaughter, and it was the most obvious case of murder. Like, he went away, thought about it, armed himself with 2 knives, come down, hits him from behind, so the inter-party didn't know what happened, and then went after him again when he went out the door, and manslaughter. And you want to say, where's the justice in that? So
when you do your job, do you lose more faith in the system or gain?
No, there's definitely cases you walk away from, you go, what the fuck am I doing this for? There's definitely them. There's definitely the kick in the teeth ones. It would give you a kick in the teeth. And then there's the other ones that you get them over the line, and it's great, brilliant. The finish a case is amazing. Now, in the end, you're only a witness. You're only a pawn in the game in court. And it's really it's 2 barristers trashing out, or well, many barristers they have, depending on how many they have. But the guards already become witnesses. So as a result, although you've gathered evidence, you put it all together, you've presented it, and it's the DPP or state solicitors that prosecute it, and you become then, as I said, you're just a witness. And after all the work you've done, it's great to get it over the line. But as I said, there's plenty of times where you get the kick in the teeth, or there's some piece of law that you've never heard of gets pulled out of the bag, and you're standing there with your hand down the front of your trousers looking for something to hang on to because you don't know what's going on.
So does that mean you, as a detective, when the court cases come up, you must go to a lot of them?
Yeah. Well,
and does that mean the barristers, you're another day of these bastards grilling me?
There's a bit of that, yeah. You get a bit of that. Yeah, you do get, especially if you're arresting members, you get fucking grilled. You could be 2 days in the box, absolutely getting your hole opened, and all you're trying to do is remember the correct sequence of events even. And their job is to stand there and make you look like a fool to a jury. Simple as. Discredit you as much as they can. And you know that. That's the thing going in. So you'll try and be cool, and try and be calm, try and be collected, and try and get your thoughts. The older you get and the more mature you get and the more experience you get, it becomes easier. Don't forget you're sitting in a box in front of 12 jurors, 6 or 7 barristers, all the witnesses, the judge, everybody typing away there, just and reporters down the back, and the whole spotlight's on you at the moment in time. And you could say something wrong or in the wrong order, and it just all gets fucked out and be on your back. So there's pressure. Of course there's pressure. And you don't get trained for it.
That sounds like an awful lot of pressure.
It is, yeah. It is. Now, don't get me wrong, if I've had it the opposite side where I've given it back and it's worked out perfectly, brilliantly, and you've won a case as a result, but there's times when you've got your hole opened and you've said something that was just wrong, and you
know it.
The judge will go through you, the barrister will go through, and you're in a hole and you're going, what the fuck am I have to say? And even you wouldn't even know what you said. No.
Have you ever seen anything that was clearly evil rather than criminal? Have you ever met someone that you thought that's just pure evil? I can feel it.
I have the media one in my head now. There was a murder in Palmerstown years ago. A man, the poor unfortunate injured party, was left in an awful way. He was stabbed over 100 times.
100 times?
Yeah. And early on, they thought it might be some sort of sex crime or something.
Did you have to go out to that?
Yeah. He was nearly presented, to be honest with you, the way it was left. It was left in an old church in the back of Palmerstown. And the poor unfortunate, the actual murder started in Dublin city centre. But the fella who did it was one of the most evil fuckers I've ever come across. This man, without saying too much, was a known bomb maker and was seemingly absolutely brilliant at it. And would have been on the radar at the time, but I presume he knew he was. But it was the aftermath of a party, and he got violently drunk and on cocaine and took a knife to members of people who were at the party, Anyway, the Shamaza sort of went out the door onto the street, and this random man, poor unfortunate, happened to be standing outside the house at the time, and he set upon him.
Just the wrong place at the wrong time.
Dublin city centre. And basically what he did was he stabbed him a couple of times. The man went down. He opened the back of his van, bundled him into the back of the van, and somebody else drove to Palmerstown from Dublin city centre while the suspect was stabbing him all the time in the back of the van.
Oh my God.
Now we after we found out who it was, there was DNA involved in it, and in fairness, there was DNA found on the broken phone, and I think there was DNA found in the inside of the band of the belt where they obviously lifted him into this. It was an old church. So we had the DNA and all the rest. We just didn't have the suspect. Well, eventually, when we did get the suspect, we raided his family home, and I met his brother at the door. And I never forget him. We walked in, I said, "What you want to know what we're there for?" And we said, "We're here for your brother." And he goes, "Not surprised. Psychopathic." And you're going, wow. Kind of, he didn't know, he only knew you're there for the murder, and he just knew it was his brother that did it. Just knew.
Did he care? The guy that, like, what did he say? Did he admit to it?
No. All done off scale as well. The whole lot. Yeah, no, made no missions whatsoever. Absolute evil bastard. He just wanted to kill somebody, and it just happened to be that poor unfortunate that was walking outside the house that night, and that was it. And if he'd done it before, or if he'd done it then, I'm sure he must have done it before, or probably would do it again. But yeah.
Have you ever had to try and catch a serial killer?
I don't think, no. No, in fairness, we've very few in Ireland. The famous one already on the go, I think everybody knows about, but no, was never involved in any of their cases. No, thank God.
Would you think that a lot of the issues that you deal with on a daily basis, from your career, from your point of view, is drug related or starts from drugs, or is it just bad rearing, bad community, or what do you think it is?
Yeah, I suppose in the early 90s to the mid 90s, when I was drink, the odd little bit of drugs, nothing major. But as soon as the 2000s come in, it was just drugs, and now it's just rife. It's everywhere. Every small town, every small pub, every village is just rife. The country's flooded with it, and it's cheap. It's easy. Young people don't go out and get drunk anymore. They go and do a couple of lines, they go and have a couple of pints. That's what they do. And the thing about a lad with coke as well is if you get a lad that's hyped up, he's 10 times the strength that he's had than he should have. To put a person down with cocaine on them is very difficult. Very difficult, because they're so hyped up. And yeah, it just seems to be getting worse. That's the other thing. It just seems to be rife.
Did you ever go, I can't, we're never getting on top of this?
No, we're never getting on top of it. Not getting on top of it. No way. And the thing about it is you're starting to see crack cocaine coming in, and et cetera, et cetera. And you're hearing stories of it, they've got a few bits here and there. But that gets in, that's it. And you see in the States with fentanyl and all the rest of what's going through there, and that's coming into this country, and it will eventually. And we'll have our zombie apocalypse like other cities have as well. Bad enough, I was in city centre the night Kelly Harrington came down, and I walked up Gardner Street, and oh my God, unreal the amount of just junkies hanging around, you know.
When you were in the middle of all these cases and you're listening to how the media reports on them, did you ever think that the media sensationalize stuff or make everything worse or tell lies? Or did you always think that the media are a very upstanding way of getting your information on certain cases?
No, they would. Yeah, I never had a relationship with anybody in the media, thank God. I know there are members that did. But no, generally, most of the story would be right in the media, from what I know. Don't get me wrong, you will get a little bit of sensationalization from them because it's obviously they have to sell a story. But funny, what you get, when you get on murder trials, you don't get the story. You don't get the full story. You only get the full story after the trial because then they can report on it. You know, you don't hear about legal argument unless it's reported afterwards. And then you actually get the full story and you go realise he is convicted, but you didn't know he did all this other shit as well. You know what I mean? And see, that's what happens. So a lot of trials, a lot of the information will be argued out. So every bit of evidence will be, argued over, and whether it can go in or go out. It's up to the judge then to decide whether it can be presented or not. So jury never gets a full trial either. Jury only gets what's agreed to.
Really?
Yes. The trial goes, now what we have is trial within a trial, and this is what's happening now recently. What they do is they actually go over the trial now. I had one just before I retired where I identified a guy who did a shooting in Coolock. He had originally done a robbery out in their area, out towards Sagart, and I had arrested him for it. And as a result, I was asked to go in and identify him. Even that was done under new regime, new system. Anyway, neither here nor there. But the point is, everything in that was pre-trial, went through everything, and then I had to go through it again in front of a jury. Now, luckily, you would have a fair idea what questions are going to be asked as a result, because we've gone through it before. But some of the stuff that was in the trial or the pre-trial doesn't get into trial. It's argued out. So the jury don't get the benefit of that.
So you could have a piece of information.
Yes.
That you, in your head, that you've gathered that loads of this work and man hours went into, that could potentially put this person away. And who decides, oh, that's not going in? Yeah,
well, generally it'll be trashed out, and it will depend on how it was gathered, depend on how it was got, depends on the warrant, depends on everything. And then they'll trash out in the court, and between the two barristers and the judge will then decide if that can go in or not. And if it can't go in, it doesn't go in. Jury doesn't see it, hasn't a clue. Like it never existed. Unless somewhere along the line there's a complication, the case falls and there's a retrial, then it might come back again. But and otherwise it's just lost, it's gone.
Fuck, that's mad.
But that's every trial. That's even, you know, see, you look on Court TV or you watch stuff on the American documentaries and all this. You see that, you know, it actually shows you. But here people don't realise that. People, some trials, in fairness, that are high profile, you'll get the story afterwards, as in the reporter will go back into the trial and tell exactly what went on and what was presented. But very seldom you see that. So there's a huge amount of evidence that would be there, may not be allowed in. Or it might even be considered sometimes by the DP that it's relevant, even though you know it's relevant. But anyway, neither here nor there. But generally it's argued out, and the judge will either not allow it in or allow it in. If he allows it in, the jury hear it. If they don't hear it.
So how many murder cases have you been part of?
Jesus. 8 years in Ballyfermot, I'd say I did probably was involved in about 10. Previous to that, 1, I think. And then eventually I ended up in further out West Dublin, small little station, and we had a spate of them at one stage. We had a triple
homicide.
Yes.
Is that the way you say it?
Yes. And we had another one at the same time where a body was dumped on a laneway up the back road. He was killed in Talbot, brought out there. And I think we'd another one. So there would have been 5 then when I came back then. Maybe even 6.
That's so many. That's so much loss of life.
Yeah, it is. But also in a district, there might be 3 or 4 stations in the district. So I might be appointed to a station, but if there's a murder, the whole district goes in for that district. So in order to say, for instance, I'm in the L district, which would be Clonalkin, Racool and Ballyfermot. If a murder happens in Clondalkin, the lads from Ballyfermot and the lads from Racool will go in and give the DD what they go for investigation purposes. So you get a crossover of crimes as such in different areas, you know. So yeah, that part I always found that part interesting. I love the conferences when you get the information back, or certain information is brought back then you hadn't heard before, and then that makes sense. Then put stuff together, and then you can
eureka moments.
Yeah. You get that.
Did that really happen? Like,
oh, you do, yeah. 100%. Somebody comes out with something like this. I'm after hearing this, or I'm after getting this information, and bang, that's everything puts together, you know. And as a result, then we can run from that, and then you get a bit of momentum, and you know that will lead generally to an arrest, and then arrest generally is done on warrant or whatever, or you all get a team together and you go 6 o'clock in the morning, off you go and hit the house or hit whatever location or locations.
What's the longest case you ever worked from the time you went to the crime scene to arrest?
Oh Jesus, yeah. Some of them would take 2 or 3 years before you could even get to arrest. I tell you what happened. I got injured in 2013. I was on the way up to Roscommon to take a statement. I unfortunately got involved in the traffic house, and I was actually sitting at a set of temporary lights, and a car pulled out across another car and ploughed him, and he came in through the door of the car and me. Anyway, I went on night duties then after it, and as a result of me being on night duties, it was sort of a spare, but because I wasn't active, I said, right, I'll take a file or 2 on of stuff that lads didn't want, which turned out to be fraud at the time. Most of them are frauds. Lads hate frauds. So I did 1 or 2, which led to 3 or 4. And I saw I had a head for it. So as a result, in 2014, they sent me on a fraud course. And they always take years. Bigger ones just take years, 4 or 5 years just to get.
Roughly, what would be a big fraud? What's that entail? What are we talking?
I had a post office fraud where there was 740 separate thefts in it. You know, no, money wise, not huge money, but it was 740 separate tests. I had a charger with 83, so I had to print off 83 separate charge sheets just to present. Now she turned out she pleaded guilty to 1, and the rest were taken into consideration. That's how it works in the system. But yeah, that's how it works. But yeah, that could take years upon years to get together, and you're doing as much as you can. And at the time, I was a Lone Ranger. I was doing my own stuff, and I put that all together myself and present it myself and get it to court myself, and they'd be prosecuting there. Yeah, you're the one-man band or nothing after it, and that was it, you know. And
did the internet change your job much? Or how did the internet, when it became more prevalent, is there crime there that you can solve? Yeah, well, listen, that's the thing. Everything's online now. Everything's fraud related. And as a result, luckily, I did a bit of cybercrime investigations as well. What's cybercrime? Everything from fraud to smishing to phishing to all these different acronyms, where they throw out X amount of emails to areas and get people to pay back into. Oh, yeah. There's a check on in your bank account. Yeah, exactly. And then you get the Nigerian. How do you figure that out? Yeah, I'll tell you how it works. Generally, it's... You can't get back their money, can you? Yeah, it's happened due to banks being on their toes. If you're on your toes and the bank's on their toes, maybe you'll be able to stop the transaction. So can you catch the people? Yeah, it's happened, yeah. It's happened. Generally, it's out of state. Most of the internet crime you get will be from West Africa or Eastern Europe, generally. But there's a certain amount of done here. We did one in Galway where... Of course. Yeah, it was a Nigerian national in Galway, and he was doing a few bits and pieces around the country. He caught a few people out, but we caught a company in Green Oak for a invoice to redirect, and very clever. How do you do it? Do you go onto social media? Do you see who the accountant is, or the accounts department are? Because your company will have all them posted up on their Facebook page, and you'll send her an email and say, "Here, I'm such a company here. You're meant to invoice me for whatever," and then he'll send them a little email with an invoice in it, but it's to
bogus account, and off the money goes, and 2 or 3 days later, whoever Meridian accounts realise that company never got paid, and they go back and they look at the actual email address itself, or under the header where the email is, and they actually look at the email itself and realise it's a bogus.
So did you become really proficient at internet stuff?
Decent enough, because a lot of the stuff we're getting through, especially when I was doing mostly the fraud stuff, was generally internet based.
And what about the dark web? Is that a real thing?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, different world there altogether. And the way it was explained to me, the dark web is that you have your Google and you have your Facebook and you have all your web pages there, and that's the cream on the top of the pint of milk. If anybody remembers that pint of milk years ago.
Yeah.
And then the rest is the dark web.
And there's that much of it?
So much there. There's so much there.
Like what?
There's so much. Anything you want to, you can get. There's a thing called the Onion Router, Tor, the Onion Router. It's a search engine specially designed, for you not to get caught on the internet, because it bounces off so many servers, but what it does is it allows you access then into the dark websites. And from there, you can purchase anything. And how it was explained to me, I didn't come across it myself, but it explained to us at the time, and it was that you want to buy a gun, you go on, you pay your 2 or 3 grand, whatever it is, in Bitcoin, and your gun will arrive to your address.
Really?
Via DHL, maybe the likes of car parts, and 3 or 4 or 5 different parts come, and then you have to disassemble a part, find your gun bit, and you'll get instructed how to reassemble it, and there you go.
How do you, that massive information, how do you figure that out? Where do you start? Like, that has to be a needle in a haystack.
It is, yeah. In fairness to the Garda computer section there in used to be in Harcourt Square, they're moved out now, but they used to be swamped with that. So I'm not specialist enough to go investigating that end of it, but what we do is we get the initial call, you go out, you take your statement, you have a look, you find it, where it's gone to, and if you might have it on the computer or you might have it on the phone, so that information has to get, they suck that information from whatever hard drive or wherever engine you can get it from, and they try and get that information back. But most is foreign.
Are they really buying people on the dark web?
Everything can be bought. You can buy anything. If you need a new liver, I'm sure you can find it there somewhere. Everything.
Did that freak you out?
Yeah. The fact that it's how will I say to you, it's so international, and there's obviously a call for it and a market there. So one of the main, the Silk Road there, which was a massive website there, one of the main drug dealers was operating out of Dublin 8. And I think it was the FBI traced the website. Don't ask me how. They traced it through, I think it was through a sale. I can't remember the exact story, but it's through a sale, and they found it was in Dublin 8. And he had a massive setup, a fabulous setup somewhere in Dublin 8. I think it was the back of an old church somewhere there. He was banging it out from.
That's fucking James Bond criminal stuff.
He was selling it he was selling the stuff as veterinary products, tablets for your dog, and they were coming through the post and it looked like worm tablets for the dog, and it wasn't. It was whatever.
What's the weirdest thing you've seen on the dark web?
Dark web,
or creepiest?
There's so much stuff there. There's so much stuff there. A lot of that stuff, I don't know. There's lads there that are designated to watch and look at this stuff, especially the child porn. How they do it. I have a friend of mine who did that for a couple of years as well, and he's actually walked away from the job since he got a different job altogether. But he did 2 or 3 years of examining, internet child porn, and you're going to say, how could anybody?
Jeez, you're really dabbling in the worst of.
No, it's the worst. That stuff is just the worst. How anybody could even consider that, to have any sort of fetish or whatever for the likes of that is beyond me. But anyway, it's there. It's prevalent. You see, you hear a news story every week here in Northern. There's somebody being caught with it. So yeah.
Does social media make it more difficult for you to do your jobs?
Yeah. I see it there now, especially lads go to make an arrest out in the street, and it's straight up on websites, and they're picking a second or two of an instant. They don't know what, you're not seeing what goes on beforehand. And also you see there what's going on with it. We call it far right, whatever you want to call it. Editing the stuff in the protests and all to suit themselves. Guards don't make an arrest unless they can make an arrest. You have to have power to make the arrest. So unless somebody's crossed that line, you don't get arrested. So,
a lot of people think that the guards are being bullied and made do things that they don't want to do.
In what sense?
like their management. Like I have now. Look, I could be wrong.
Go on. Go on.
I know a good few guards,
Yeah.
and I don't know any of them that don't detest with an absolute passion Drew Harris and the management system since he came in, especially.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he's the reason I went, but it was definitely, how will I say, a factor in the sense that I could go on my 30 years, and I went on my 30 years due to the fact that I could see the bullshit coming down the line with the likes of how the young fellas had been hammered, and how even the lower management, the sergeants, were just getting swamped, and the lack of bodies, lack of resources. And he's there telling you, we've enough, we've plenty of guards, we don't need any more, this, that, and the other. We've all the resources in the world. And every dog in the street knows you don't.
And like the people on the guards on the ground I'd be talking to say that it's like he's put there to make them hate their job, not be able to do their job properly, and destroy the whole culture of the guards. That's what they feel like. I
think that has happened. I think he's done that. I honestly believe he's done that. He was here to stop brought in to stop a bit, I think, a bit of nepotism. There wasn't a job where it was a job for the boys. If you knew somebody and you got promoted, you might bring them along with you. And there was a bit of that. Of course there was, because that's the way most companies and most jobs work. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. But anyway, he came in to stop all that. Yet, the parachuting superintendents and chief superintendents in from the PSNI, etc., and not much about it. And probably our next commissioner will be one of his, we call them cronies if you want or whatever, but the whole atmosphere, the whole feeling, the crack, the whole buzz that you used to have with it, to me, is gone. And when I talk to the guys now, I'm a year gone. When I talk to the guys now, it's gotten worse, and morale is way down, lowest I've ever seen it. And lads are just, especially the younger members, are just hammered everywhere, hammered with the computer, hammered by their management, hammered by the social media, anything to do, they're hammered by. So it's not the job I joined, put it that way.
Well, that's a really horrible thing when we're in a time where we need better guards and more on top of their game, and they need more money. Like, was in New York an absolute shit show until they decided, the guards the police need to be paid more.
Yes.
Because if they're not getting paid, it'll stop corruption, or they need more help, or they need better infrastructure around them.
Yeah. Well, luckily, I don't think there's much in Ireland. There's definitely not a huge amount of criminality in relation to the guards. I never saw anybody taking a bribe or anything like that. But you just see the lads are bet down. You could see the humours. You'd always have great crack with the next station, or the lads you'd meet out and about, and that seems to be gone. And it's lack of bodies. You never see a guard in the beat. I can't remember the last time I saw a guard in the beat. You don't see them. Your local village doesn't have one. Your main towns don't have one. I haven't seen one. As I said, I was in Dublin city centre the other night, and there was a few around the park where Kelly Harrington was coming in, but I walked up from O'Connell Street up, and I didn't see one until I got to Gardiner Street. And the place was just like 24 hours later with zombies.
Sure, in every society, unless community works, it doesn't work. So if you don't have a local guard, someone that you can talk to that knows this guy and knows...
Exactly. And even that's sort of gone. The stations I worked in, the community guards were just supplement. They were being, rather than let do with their community work, they were being, how would you say, supplement for the car, supplement for the station. They were being dragged into general police work where they should be concentrating on community work. That's my opinion. And as a result, the community are suffering, the community guard is suffering, and then as a result, I believe the guards are suffering. Because the information to and from is not happening, the community engagement is not happening, the trust that you garner from one to one is not there, and as a result, it's the whole lot suffering. And it's not going to get better.
Do you think that the guards should be armed?
No.
Why?
Well, this is my opinion, and I wasn't armed until 2003, and then I carried. Every day I put that gun on my hip, I couldn't wait to take it off. Didn't want it on me. Lucky never had to use it. Brilliant. Delighted. Locked it away every night. I was delighted to lock it away. It was just a hindrance. I had one incident where I drove into the middle of a bar out. I was on my own, and I shouldn't have stopped, but I stopped.
What's eventually.
row outside the pub.
Bar out.
Yeah, so a row outside the pub. It spilled out into the street. And I nearly would have had to drive over somebody to get away from it. But anyway, I was on a marked car, stuck the blue lights on, got out. The Shamaza sort of stopped. And I got talking to the 4 guys that were involved in it. And turns out they were just trying to get one lad home. And he was just locked. And wherever else he'd taken, as a result, they couldn't drag him away. No taxis, no nothing. So I said, listen, lads, get in the back here. I'll drop you down the road. Anyway, 3 of the guys are happy to go in. Of course, the one guy wasn't. Went to put him in the car. He just wasn't going. So the 3 boys got out again and they started another row. And they're kicking the lumps out of each other. And I trying to stop it. And eventually I had to arrest the lad who was the instigator, the main man. But he just didn't want to be arrested. And they were trying to save him as well. And then I realised my fucking gun is sticking out. I had no jacket on me. It was just in the short and it was sticking out. But the whole time, I'm swinging the man around, beating him off his friends, just to try and keep them away from my hip.
That was scary.
It's not even that. It's just that you're carrying it. The hassle, you know, that split second happened to that poor chap up in where was it? Cavan Loud there. He got caught.
Well, what happened?
He got caught. The man took the gun. The fella driving the motorbike took the gun up and shot him.
His own gun?
Own gun. No, it happened there like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It happens. It can happen. It's there. It can happen. You know. So you have the responsibility that. Anyway, thank God I never had to use it. But the truth of the matter is, I don't think we need it. We have specialist units that carry guns, and that's enough. We don't need it anymore. And I think the Irish people are happy with that. I think it looks better. I think as a result, when you're dealing with a guard, it's better. If you stand out with a car, you have a gun on. If there's another gun involved, or i.e. in the car you're going to, the chances are it'll be drawn as a result. You know, if you take that away, then, you know, there's plenty of unarmed members out there taking guns off guys who, you know.
So you're going to this guy that you know is a hitman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in my head, I'm coming to the house. Hands in the air, motherfucker! If I see you move your finger, you know.
There is that. Yeah, if you're going to search and going to arrest a guy like that, you're going in.
But do you go in like that, or do you have the armed guys with you?
Before, what happens over the last couple of years, we have been using the region support units and EIU. But years ago, it's just the local DDU going, okay, 6 or 7 lads, let's go, going to arrest such and such, and you just go. And you wouldn't know what you meet the far side of it, but that's the way it was.
And did you have to have a gun because you were driving around and talking to people, and it's just for protection?
You were an armed unit, so as a result, you were if there was an armed call, you were expected to go to it. So when everybody's running away, you're running in, and that was the reason for you to have your gun.
Do you get to keep it?
No, no, thank God.
Did you ever have to pick it up and knock someone out the back of the head with it?
No, I didn't know. I only ever once I drew it, which was firearms being handed over in a pub, Ruby Finnegan's, bottom of Sarsfield Road. There was a gun being handed over, and we knew that.
When you say drew it, you pointed at someone?
Yeah.
Please say you pointed like this once.
No.
Never. Is that not, you can't do that, can you not? It looks cool though.
You can do it. It looks cool, but it's not effective, and plus your aim wouldn't be great. And to be honest with you, no, in fairness, the firearms training is very good. It's brilliant training, and it's all through muscle memory. And when you pull and draw,
do you get to pick your gun?
No,
they give it to you.
Yeah, we started on 38 Smith Wessons, and then they changed them. I changed about 5 years ago to a 6 Sauer, and
you have to give it back.
Yeah, state gun. Even though it's your gun, but you give it back to the state when you're finished. The day before I retired, I drove to the Phoenix Park and handed it back to the armory.
The army?
The armory. Actually, he's ex-army guy who was an armourer in the guard. He's now employed by the guards. So you hand it back in and your all your bits and pieces. And I was never so happy to do anything in my life than do that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Did you ever do any cases that you had to, work with people from different countries, like Americans and English people?
Yeah, I guess you get a bit back from the UK. Like I had Bristol police come over one time to interview a guy for a murder that happened in 1974 or something like that. It was a cold case team come over, and you'd liaise with them. They'd let you know they're coming over. They'd have to go through the protocol, and then you'd meet them and bring them to. You have to sit in the interview, and then you're technically supposed to take what you sit in the interview, and then make sure they get to and from where they're doing. I've had a couple of times where I had to go north myself. The murder I was telling you about earlier on in Palmerstown, I had one of the witnesses was a girl from Belfast. She'd be interviewed in Belfast City under their system. You get a bit of that, yeah. And, I know lads who work in the likes of immigration, etc., etc. They get a bit of travel to and from different countries over too. So, but when we do get lads over, our system will be totally different to their system as well, So.
Did you ever have to do a stakeout?
Yeah, loads of times. Still doing it now. That's what I'm doing now.
We'll get there.
Yeah, okay, yeah. No, you do, yeah. You do.
Is that fun like it looks in the films?
It is the most boring fucking thing in the world. And you're always dying for piss. So, yeah.
And tell me, right, when you're working, say bank robberies, detectives don't do anything with bank robberies around?
Yeah.
But is there any bank robberies anymore?
No, it's not. It's gone.
That's gone?
Gone, yeah. Gone.
I miss the days of the old bank robberies. Like when I heard someone robbed a bank and got away with it, I'd be there, fucks to him.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
I have a great story about foiling a bank robbery that we didn't actually go to foil.
Tell me.
I was 4:30 in the afternoon. I think about 4 o'clock, about 4 p.m. say in the afternoon. We were on Marhampton Road. I was stationed at Donnybrook at the time, and I was the passenger in the car. And we got a call to go to. It was a panic alarm down in Sandymount somewhere down. Panic alarm, I can't remember what it was. So we're going to. So we come back up Marhampton Road and we turned left onto the park there. And in fairness to the driver, he came around the outside of the traffic and then turned into the traffic as such. And just as he did, 2 motorbikes come up the inside of it and ran into the side of the patrol car. First motorbike ran into the front of the front of the patrol car. Second bike ran into back passenger door of the motorbike. So he there beside me, right beside my window. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And neither did my driver. So anyway, for the split second we started looking at each other, but the fella on the back motorbike drops the bike and jumps onto the front motorbike. So I didn't know what was going on, so I kicked the door out, knocked the 2 of them off the bike, and passenger goes running this way, driver goes running that way. I took after the passenger. So he ran around the Marhampton Road and he made a mistake of turning around to have a look. He had a helmet on him and I clotheslined him, basically. Took him from the neck
It's
up.
like some little fucking film.
Anyway, what happened was there was a bit of schmozzle, handcuffs in the back of the car. Here we go. They were about to rob the bank on Marhampton Road. We happened to be going to a panic alarm down in Sandymount, which had nothing to do with it. Saw the patrol car come, they panicked. We just happened to turn the same direction that they were turning back towards Harbour Park. And we basically cut them off unwittingly, not knowing.
Savage.
And the 2 fucking idiots ran into the side of the patrol car.
Oh, the unlucky. They were the worst bank robbers in the world.
That's the truth. I think I broke a finger out of that one actually. But yeah, no, that was.
So like we were out kicking ass. What?
No, yeah, it was row. Simple as. Didn't want to be arrested.
Is there such thing as secret agents?
Secret agents?
MI5. Like, are those real people?
We have different branches here in Ireland, yeah, that would be at that, yeah. I have a personal friend who would have worked. And
what is their remit?
Depends what it is. Mainly infiltration into gangs is what you get here, if that's what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
I had a friend, a colleague of mine that I worked with, and he would have been very much involved in the inner city drug scene. And his job was to infiltrate the gangs and sit with them for a while and collate all the information in relation to that.
Like a double agent?
Basically.
Are they fucked up in the head?
He's a bit mental now. I hope he's listening because he loved this. But he is a little bit fucking tapped. Yeah, a gas character. And his stories are amazing. But he had to get over it. Like everything else, it's only short time that you could stay in that before you get rumbled. So he's back out working with a detective unit at the moment. But he had some great stories of the inner city drugs and what went on with them as well, yeah.
Were you ever in a high-speed chase?
Numerous times, yes.
Really?
Numerous times.
Tell me about it.
Especially the...
I just... Like,
yeah.
How did it happen and what was the outcome?
From day one onwards, you get a chase. And when I went to the likes of Ballyfermotry, it was common practice. If you didn't get a chase in the weekend nights, there'd be something wrong. But no, we
I'm
got
only saying I think that's fucking I know it's not awesome and it's dangerous.
yes.
But you're trained to drive, yeah?
No.
Oh.
This is the thing. No, most members aren't trained. They're driving on their own license.
What?
Yes. I was lucky enough. I got an official car course back in 2002, I think it was, which is a brilliant course, a very intensive, brilliant course to do. But I'd say probably 80 to 90% of people, cars driving out there, are driving on their own licenses.
So if shit hits the fan, they get in trouble.
Yes.
So why would they bother doing it then?
Exactly. The job is relying on the goodwill of the member. I tell you now, it's shocking. If you actually cut it down, breaking down what's going on, it's fucking shocking. That any person has to go out and drive a patrol car on their own license, having never been trained. Now, they do a 1-day course to turn your blue lights on. They do another small course as well to allow them to go to calls. But they're not trained. They're not trained to drive the car. They're technically not allowed to speed. They're driving on their own licenses, most of them.
Can a guard pull another guard?
Yes. It's happened to me.
Were you on the high-speed chase?
No, not on the high speed. I was on my way down the nice road to get a sandwich, and I got pulled by traffic. Yeah, not realising that the car in front of him was actually a Garda car as well.
Did you say to him, "Do you know who I fucking am? There's the gun. I'm fucking carrying, motherfucker."
Yeah. I took a chase another night. Anyway, neither here. That's a different story. But no, high speed chases would have been common practice. Yeah, especially in the 90s. Yeah, 100%. You would have got them.
And are you trying to catch someone that's speeding, a joyrider, or are you following? What's the situation?
Depends. You could be just early on. Drink driving was an issue, so you get the odd lad that chances arm. And drive away. Then there was other, back in the, as I said, the early mid-90s, joyriding was huge. When I went to the DDU, it was mostly chasing after lads who'd committed a crime. Pharmacy robbed in Carlow Town, I think it was one time. We were sitting on the nice road waiting for the car to come in. It was a Saab that had been robbed previously in Liffey Valley. And we sat just across from the Black Church, the nice road, and after about 5 minutes there was in the outside lane, and we got on behind it. And it was when they were doing the roadworks on the nice road as well, and tried to stop that. That eventually, man was a bad driver and didn't get the sweep at the top of Clondalkin there and hit the island at the turn off the top of the Blue Road, and the car somersaulted. You get that. You get that regular enough now. You would.
Do you ever have to ram him off the road?
You're not allowed to ram them off the road.
How do you stop them? Shoot the wheels.
Yeah, exactly. No, you can't. You're allowed to. In some cases, you're allowed to pursue, but you're not allowed to. We're not trained to stop them. He says we're a big winky.
So, when are your cars? Is there any specialised cars other than the armed units?
No,
for chase.
Standard car.
Why are the cars so shit?
Because we won't spend money on them. We're under-resourced, under-policed, under everything. We're under-resourced. Now, in fairness to the guys in the armed response units and all this, they're driving pretty decent Audis and etc. etc. But your average patrol car is a 1.7 diesel.
Yeah, it's shocking.
Yeah, shitbox.
I want my guards in Porsches.
Yeah. Yeah, Drew, are you listening?
They're going to get to me quicker.
Yeah. No, it's just, and some of the cars are disgraceful as well, that's the other thing. But anyway, neither here nor there. They have sort of updated the fleets, in fairness, and in fairness to that, they look quite well, some of them, but no, for years we're under-resourced there.
Right, so you had a very intense career. Like every day was fairly intense. Yeah. And you just thought it was normal.
Yes.
And then you get sick of the system and you retire.
Yes.
What the fuck is that like? Like that must be like some shock to the system.
No, it was. I have to say, I said to myself, I'm going to take 3 months off and do nothing, do fuck all.
You were probably looking forward to quitting.
I was going to do a Mickey Flanagan, proper fuck all, and lie on the couch, look at the ceiling for 3 months. That was my plan. But that lasted for about 2 or 3 days, and then I realised, no, that's not for me. You know, your brain is running 100 miles an hour and you're doing 1 mile an hour. So now I set myself my own little business, and I said, right, stick to what I know. So I have my own business. I'm going to plug now, kelmanagency.ie.
So what's the business? What do you do?
It's a private investigation business.
So
and
cool.
maybe a bit of personal security if it came to as well. But no, mainly private investigations. Like
Who needs a private investigator?
a lot of companies will do. In fairness, your insurance companies will need private investigators to make sure that Johnny, who's claiming that he has a back injury, is not playing off tree when he's playing his golf, or his
So you follow people.
photograph, as you say, do stakeout, check out.
So you in the the camera.
Yeah, I've all the gear and no idea. Yeah, no
Gotcha.
camera and all this, and
Shit.
I'm getting a lot of divorce cases at the moment. That seems to be the thing. To
What's
check,
that?
to check out where the husband's living or who he's living with, and things like
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah, or where the wife is now. That's during the week now is where the wife was. Discovered her, so yeah, we're good with that. That was a good case during the week. I got paid for it, thank God.
How do you price that?
Yeah, it's difficult. That's
So
the only
I
thing.
go to you and I go, listen, I think I want you to follow my wife. And obviously you're going to have to just be there for a week.
Yeah, sort of. That's how I price it, really. Yeah.
A week. So you're going to say, right, this is what I need, because I don't know how much traveling I'm going to do. I don't know where she's going to go. I don't know what's going to happen. So this is what I want for a week.
Basically, what you do is you give an estimated set rate, and then you say, okay, there may be a certain amount of expenses extra, but we'll try and keep it to a minimum. And what I do is I run it by you. My thing is to stay in constant communication with anybody I'm dealing with, because it's very important. And if there's going to be an expense, or if they can't afford an expense, okay, let's try and walk around it. And if it's a small job, we'll keep it small and we'll keep it neat. If it's a bigger one during the week, which is a full week work, price it out and then try and stick to it. That's basically what you do.
And legally, are you allowed to follow people?
Oh, it's not stopping you, yeah. I've been licensed by the Private Security Association. They do a course in private investigation. I've gone and done that. You get your PSA license. Do you want to see it? Show you.
Yeah, please, show me. Please say it's a fucking flip down.
No, it's not flip down.
Oh,
It's
fuck.
sticky out here. But it has a lovely bit of a holograph on it.
Is that you?
That's me with a big fat head, yeah.
You've lost a lot of weight since then.
No, I don't. I just have a fat head in pictures.
You look like a Santi.
Yes.
A little Santi.
And
That's actually a cool license. There's a hologram thing and everything. Do you ever get the guards coming up to you? Someone report you for like staking out, all the fag butts outside the window? And
not
see the
yet.
guards?
I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. That's the thing. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. But no,
That's because
no.
you're too good at your
Well,
job.
that's it. Yes. In case the audience are listening, it's because I'm so professional.
Yeah.
No, but listen, again, sure, listen. For the amount of time that I'm going to be sitting outside anyway, you have to be conscious of that. You can't sit in one spot. You have to be in a different vehicle probably every time you're doing it as well. So as a result, you won't be that obvious when you're doing it. You have to be cute about what you are, and hopefully by the time even you do get a report to the guards, you're gone anyway. So
Do you like it?
it's different. The reason I wanted to do this is because I can do it at my own pace and my own steady leisure, I suppose, and not kill myself doing it. The pension's good from the guards. One thing I have to say, it was great. I'm pensioned since the last year. I'm 53 years of age. I have my little wage coming in anyway, so I don't need to do an awful lot.
You're in great shape because you're not that much older than me, because I'm going to be 50 in 6 years and I have no pension. I've no pension, I've no house.
Yes.
I'm really fucked.
Everybody joined the guards.
Might
No.
get a job off you.
Yeah.
I would be the worst person at that, actually.
Do you think so?
Oh, yeah. I get bored after 4 hours and just knock on the door and go, where are you going? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You just tell us what's going on. I don't go home.
Sometimes you have to force the issue and knock on the door or wherever, or do a delivery or something.
What's the weirdest thing you were asked to do since you started what you're doing now?
That's nothing too weird. Everything's been fairly simple. There seem to be a lot of the people wanting to find what other people are just at, especially over the divorce. They just want to know what the other person. They don't really care who they're with or what just what they're at.
Really?
Yeah.
Just nosiness.
Just not letting it go. Just not letting it go. I don't know. Maybe some people don't like the fact that the other person's moved on. I don't know. But anyway, it's that seems to be what it's about.
Do you like, when you're watching television, do you watch TV?
Yeah, a bit. Yeah.
Do you watch a lot of detective programs?
No, my wife does. She loves it.
And is she and you watching it going, that's such a bullshit, right?
Yeah, there's a bit of that. Now, some of them are brilliant. Some are actually excellent. But, especially the newer ones where they go into in-depth and court cases, etc. They're great. But a lot of it can be drivel.
I have a question for you now.
Go on.
I don't have to answer it.
Go on.
Because you are a detective and you've done all that and you've seen it all, could you kill someone and get away with no bother?
Yes, if you planned it out properly, I'd say you possibly could. Is there a perfect murder, they say? And there will always be some trace. So you have to get away. How you'd have to do it is that you'd have to know that it'd be a technicality that you will get away with it.
Not the procedure, technicality.
No, not procedure. Well, you'd obviously try to be as clean as you possibly could, but the main thing is to do, and I've seen it, I'm not going to tell you how to do it, I'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah. No, don't, because then Vicky, and happens Vicky, I'll be fucking, they'll be replaying this in the fucking court.
Unfortunately, you'd be putting yourself in a position as well. But anyway, I've seen it twice where twice it was deliberate and twice they got away with it by both saying the same thing, different circumstances. But anyway, I'll explain to the others. But what they did was they used the technicality to get themselves away with it, yeah. So it could be done.
Do you want some business advice?
Yes.
You should be a hitman. You'd be the best hitman. You could charge a fortune.
No, I have a conscience.
180,000.
Couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. And plus, there's no money in it, really.
Really?
No.
Have you ever had to question a famous person?
Famous person?
High profile. Someone in government.
Nobody in government.
Do you ever wanna?
Well, yeah, I would have loved to, yeah, but no. Yes, no interest really, no famous people really as such. Infamous, maybe.
Who's the most infamous person?
I won't mention names, I'm not on the podcast.
But we would all know.
You would all know, yeah, and has been in the papers left, right, and centre as a result, yeah.
How many people have you put to prison?
Honestly, you couldn't tell you. Don't know.
That many?
I wouldn't say it's that many. It's just I've never kept count.
That means it's a lot.
No, listen, like everything else, it's a 30-year career, of course, especially early on when you're active and there was prison sentences going. Yeah, but now it's very hard to get a person into prison now.
This is a weird question. Have you ever became friends with someone you put to prison?
I won't say friends. I've come across people who I've dealt with and shook my hands afterwards. Yeah. And say, yeah, wherever we'd have a conversation, whatever. I wouldn't turn my back on them now or anything like that, but no, if I sat down and met them on occasions and we shook hands, yeah.
I've had this question in my head for the last few times. I've been on podcasts with people and I think about this a bit.
Okay.
And because you told me at the start about the way you grew up and issues with your dad, do you think that if we all grew up, say the worst person you knew, that murderer, that killer, if we grew up in the exact same life and the exact same experiences, would you end up as him, or do people's morals change? Like I sometimes think if I grew up in Nazi Germany and had all those exact situations and experiences, maybe I would have been that person. Maybe I would have been that evil person. Yeah. Or is it all dependent on where we're born, how we were brought up?
Now at the moment, I believe I chose not to grow up like, especially my father. I believe I chose not to do that. I believe that's in everybody's remit to do that. So I think you can choose. Now what can happen is circumstances keep you down or keep you in a scenario. I believe, especially with young people, it's generally down to who they meet along the way. If they stick to the same circle of friends or circle of gang or whatever you want to call it, they will generally stay in it. If somewhere along they need to meet the right person or meet another person who will maybe give them a little bit of influence in a different direction, then yes, they can change, no problems at all. And they can decide to change, that's the thing. But having said that, there's a lot of people who just choose to be
bad.
Scumbag, yeah. Choose to be. It's their circle of friends, it's their life, it's what they live in. They don't want to do anything else. That's it. Some people are bred for it. Family circumstances, all the rest, and they will choose not to be anything different from what they are.
Have you ever met someone, say a young person, a criminal, and arrested them, and had conversations with him, and from that changed their outcome?
Jeez, I couldn't say. No, that's not. I wouldn't be patting myself on the back either for it. No. But the truth of the matter is, listen, you surely as in my job, I have at some stage, said something to somebody that they've gone, all right, caught myself on here. I'm sure I have. But listen, I can't. Off the top of my head now, I can't say I have.
Have you ever lost a colleague?
Nothing directly. We've had members over the years that passed away. All right, yeah, this and the other, and then we had an incident a couple of years ago where a member was set on fire in the public office, and then
Sorry?
Yeah, that was a famous story. He's a plaque outside the station there where a chap walked in the door and the buzzer sergeant came out. It was a British muzzle and man poured petrol over the public office and lit the whole place up. Sergeant in charge died. Famous story in Tala. Yeah, I've known lads that were killed, but not personally, but I just would have known of them. Yeah. So yeah, it's sad when a member goes down, I have to say. And that's one thing about the job is if you ever heard, we call it urgent assistance. If you hear that call across the radio, that sends the hairs on the back of the neck, and you're 100 mile an hour or 200 mile an hour to get to where you're going to get there. That was the one thing about the guards was brilliant, the camaraderie, and when that call went out from everywhere, whoever heard that call went to it. No matter what, you drop what you're doing and you're getting there. And you're getting there as quick as you possibly fucking can, just to make sure that they don't go down, So that's the stuff you miss.
Yeah.
The day-to-day stuff you miss.
Do you still chat with guys you work with?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I have great friends. I have to say a great bunch of friends over the years, and that's one thing about the guards. You will meet the best of lads. I have a group of guys who go skiing every year. And
skiing?
Yeah, it's our little thing. We're doing it. Geez, must be 20 years now at this stage, and we meet up every year. We go and catch up, and although we've moved to all different parts of the country or got married or moved on or done whatever we've done, we still meet for every year and still talk the old shame shite and different war stories. And every year there'll be a bit added on or a bit something as funny added on to the war story, and it's great. And then, we a great bunch of lads. And as a result, even to this day, if I had an issue, I'd make a phone call and I know it'll be resolved, or vice versa. They'd ring me and you do your best, whatever you can do for them,
Is it true once a guard, always a guard? Are you still always switched on?
Oh yeah, my missus, she fucking never stops giving out to me about it. I'd never stop. I'm standing in a pub, I'm always watching everything around me or whatever. Night out.
Are you really good to read people?
I think I am, yeah.
So have you ever, when you're out, seen this lad's going to start now?
Yeah. Often. Yeah, you would. You'd sense it. You know what's brewing,
Is that annoying?
I think it's a good thing for me anyway. Yeah. No, I haven't said that. My missus tell you different. And Derek's been in coffee there as well.
He's very good at it.
Yeah, he will be, yeah.
He's a hooer for reading people.
Yeah, for sure. That's his business. He's a people person. He's dealing with the public. As a result of dealing with the public, he generally will read the public as well, So, but I never stop. As I said, even to this day, my missus never. I'm going on holidays next week after, and she'll be giving out to me because I'll be standing in a pub in the Costa del Sol and I'll be watching everything going on around me. She'll be giving out to me because I'm not giving her enough attention or whatever, and as a result, that's you're fucking retired now. No, I'm not. That's the way I am. That's just me, But everybody I know, everybody I worked with would say the same,
How many kids?
I two. What many kids have I?
Yeah.
2, the boy and the girl. Aaron and Aoife there. Aaron's 27, Aoife's 25, so yeah.
Do you get on well with him?
Brilliantly. I have a brilliant relationship with both of them. No, he moved out. He moved to Sweden. He's about to move to Switzerland, I think, to run a pub over there. My beloved daughter's working for my wife, and we get on famously. I'm saying we're away now next week, myself and my wife, for our anniversary, and it's his birthday. He's come to meet us for his birthday, down from Sweden, and then
Whereabouts in Sweden is he living?
He's living in a town called Sandviken, which is north. He's working for a company there. He's an engineer for Microsoft, basically, and they're building a data center up there. He's doing something up there. So
does he love it over there?
He's moving. He's following the love of his life at the moment down to Switzerland.
That was the way.
Yeah, that was the way. Yeah. So he.
Imagine if you found out he was laundering money out there.
It wouldn't be my business.
Imagine you take your own son down. There'd be a big sting. The door would open and you'd walk in and you go, fucking caught you.
Gotcha, you little fucker. No. He's a decent skin, you know, friends. We don't have to worry about him.
Would you go for a few pints together now?
You sat with the son? Oh, yeah, 100%, yeah. He loves bringing his old fella out for a drink because the stories and the crack with his lads as well, yeah. But yeah, no, get on famously, absolutely famously. I'll just say the pair of us and my daughter as well. We get on great. As a family, get on great. Yeah.
If you were, I could wave a magic wand and you are the boss, Drew Harris, out the door and you're in his suit, hat, whole lot, and you have all the power. What could you do to make the guards better and to make it a better place to work and a better place at making the country safer?
For the members themselves, I'd scrap that fucking computer system, give them something decent that doesn't punish them. That's firstly. And secondly, for the public, more members. You need more feet in the ground, simple as. The guard and the beat is gone. You know, and even try and get a car is nigh on impossible now. So it's, you know, they're just bogged down all the time. Computer, paperwork. So streamline that. That would release so many lads, and then more bodies, simple as.
Like even for an arsehole like me, when I walk in to get passports done and get stuff signed to get me Jeep taxed, to think that I'm wasting a guard's time.
But you're not wasting the time. You're not. That's the thing. The member loves that. The fella who's on the station loves chatting to the public, loves opening the hatch, seeing someone come in, get the forms,
but they're just inundated with too much. Yeah. It's like the whole place is full. They don't have time to chat. It's just, I have too much to this to do.
There is that now. That's the problem. That's what's coming in. Whereas before it was just, you know, especially in a country station, you know, the public know that you're there, that you open the door, you're there for a chat, you can have it, you can download if they need to, even if it's only over minuscule things. There was up top to the guard and station there is great, and their interaction, and as a result they're seeing you, they're engaging with you, you know, they've confidence in you. You go out then to call it there and they see you and they're there, they know what's going on, and they know you're doing your best for them. Whereas now that's gone.
Do you ever wish you had been a local guard in a small sleepy town?
Yeah. You see, that's the thing about the stations. You don't get a choice at the start. I was stationed in Donnybrook. Went to Donnybrook. I had no choice that I was going to Donnybrook. I could easily went to West Cork. Now, at the time, the sort of Dublin lads were looked after and they were sent back to Dublin. If you were from there, you could have been fucked anywhere. That's the problem. You could have been stationed anywhere.
It's an awful pity you didn't go down to West Cork. You'd have took down Ian Bailey in a heartbeat. I'm on to Ian.
Yes, hey Anthem. You haven't. Yeah. No, to me, that's a slam dunk, wasn't it?
Slam dunk.
There's stuff we're not being told there as well. That's the other thing. Yeah.
How many things like that happen that you go, that's shite, like?
As in?
All them kind of cases.
That did he get away for a reason or it just hasn't happened? Stuff, listen, there's a couple of famous cases still ongoing, missing persons, murders there. And everybody knows who's done it. It's there. It just hasn't got over the line. It might be just down to a hair of evidence that will get it over the line. And as a result, the DPP won't run with it for whatever reasons, because he feels he can't prosecute it or can't get it over the line. There's a load of them, and there always will be a load of them. Just because it's not there, just because there's a minuscule not there. Hopefully somewhere along the line it does come out, or DNA changes or technology changes that, you push these stuff. And that's what happens. Technology does change and does get better. And as a result, especially cold cases, when they look at them again, they realise, okay, we could do something else with the DNA here. And as a result, the Kerry babies was a prime example of that, how the DNA changed, and as a result we're able to identify the couple involved. They got their anonymity, and how they haven't been prosecuted is beyond me, or how somebody has been prosecuted, but I don't know full stories. But they believed there was enough there, just not enough to prosecute. And there's many a story like that. And I said, even down to our famous triangle that we have here, minuscules, I believe, we'll get that over the line. Just hasn't happened.
Why?
I don't know. It can be down to lack of DNA. It can be down to just not the evidence in the right place at the right time, or something doesn't match up, and as a result that they brought to trial, it'd fall as a result. So what's the point of bringing the trial and not getting it there, you know? Whereas evidence does come. People, as years go by, decide they can't deal with it on their conscience. And, you know, will give evidence, and that evidence might just lead to whatever, you know.
When you've seen people walk out of court that shouldn't, does that play on your conscience?
If you have pain in your hole, anyway, that's for sure, yeah. That's the truth. Especially stuff that you've been directly involved in, you might have been prosecuting yourself, and you know, it was your case. And as I said, yeah, technicality or something, they walk out the door, that gives you a pain in your hole now, you know.
You still live in Dublin?
Just outside Dublin, yeah. Just outside. So, living...
You're not going to sell up and live in West Cork?
Chances are I may relocate to warmer climes.
Oh, you're going to move?
Thinking of it.
Can I guess?
Go on.
You're going to fucking America?
No.
That's where all the biggest criminals are.
No, the plan is for the bones more than this is to semi-retire and live a warmer.
Where would you go?
I'd love to go down to Costa del Sol. I'd love to go down to Round Marbella somewhere there and chill out for a while. For the bones more than anything else. The body's in bad order now at this stage. The amount of bangs I've had over the years.
Give up the fucking skiing. That's fucking hard on you.
Yeah, it's not great, you know. Listen,
did you ever hear of golf?
Yes. I have issues with 2 shoulder surgeries last year that have fucked up my golf. Anyway, neither here nor I'm a man that has a habit of putting himself in a position and getting banjoed. Between football and skiing and work over the years, I've had a lot of bangs. So as a result, I wake up in the morning creaking, so it'd be good.
I wake up in the morning creaking and I never done anything cool like that. I'm a real pussy altogether, aren't I?
Yeah. But sure, listen, a bit of olive oil in the system might help. That's probably...
What's your earliest childhood memory?
Earliest childhood memory? I remember getting lost in the zoo as a child. I remember my grandmother losing me in the zoo on a family trip, one of the very few family trips we ever went on. I got lost. I remember the panic in that.
You or everyone else?
Everyone else, because I remember the time, the relief of finding me. I remember that, I think it must have been about 3 or 4. And that's the earliest one I can remember, yeah. So, yeah, getting lost in the zoo. I needed 2 tickets, one to get in, one to get out. Yeah.
Do you think about that every time you go to the zoo?
Yeah, no, I haven't been to the zoo in a while, thank God. No, that was too traumatic.
You're not fucking missing anything.
Too traumatic.
It's like a prison for animals.
Another debate.
We went up to I won't say where it was, and we were walking around, and it's bad when all the kids are going, they're so unhappy. They don't want to be here, and they're 3. You're there thinking, this is horrible. Why did I take them here? It's like the worst prison ever, and the weather's shite. You know, this animal was born in a hot climate, and there it is, shivering in the fucking cold.
In the middle of July.
Yeah. Bad.
Yeah. And you just threaten your kids now. If you're bold, that's where you'll end up. That'll be it.
Is your father still alive?
No, he died 2 years ago, I think. There was no reconciliation. There was no way of reconciling, to be honest with you. So, yeah.
What was that like?
No, I was actually working on the day and with a very good friend of mine, colleague, and the phone call came in. And he obviously knew about the tone of the phone call that it was something. He goes, what's up? My old fella's dead. And he goes, do you want to go back? And no. I said, I've been planning for this year, so we just went about our daily business and that was it.
Did you go to the funeral?
No.
Do you ever think about that?
Yeah, I thought I'd be a hypocrite if I did it. I didn't feel the need to. My sister did ask, and I said, Sonia, listen, you don't need me. She had her husband and family there. She didn't need me for it. I had no contact for 20 odd years. I would have felt I was a hypocrite to stick my head in the door and feel sorry for me as a result of it. No. So, no, I didn't. And I've no regret.
If you walked into a room with everyone you'd ever known, alive or dead, who would you go over to?
Alive or dead? Who would I go over to?
Who would you go to first?
Oh, definitely over to the wife, of course. I have to tell her that because she's going to be listening to this later on. So it's 100% her. Myself and herself gone great, I have to say, famously. As well as being my wife, she's definitely the best friend. After that, dead or alive. I miss my granny on my mother's side, all right. She was a lady, I have to say.
Close to her.
Yeah, it would have been close, yeah. And in fairness, they took me in after the family broke up initially. The Eastern Helper were involved and all the rest, so somebody had to take me in, or else I was going into care. So she took me in and she looked after me. And now they were old at that stage. And
did they see you become a detective? And
believe it or not, she died. She died while I was training. I don't think she ever saw me in uniform. She would have known I got there already, but I don't think she ever saw me in uniform. So she died while I was training. I come up from Templemore, even that was a fucking drama, trying to get out of Templemore to go to a funeral. But yeah, she died back then.
Do you believe in God?
No. I'm probably the most unreligious person in the world. No, I wouldn't have any religious belief at all now left of me.
Do you talk to yourself?
Constantly.
What's your inner dialogue like?
I'm quite argumentative with myself now, in fairness. I like chatting, chat myself in and out of stuff, yeah.
More in or out?
More in. I've tendency to hyper-analyse stuff, yeah. I think that's just my nature anyway. I like to analyse and make sure and then analyse again, so in case I miss something. So yeah, I've a tendency to do that, yeah. Don't think that's a bad thing, no. I think that suits my personality as well, you know. So, yeah, that'd be me. I'd be constantly talking to myself.
Do you dream at night?
Do a bit, yeah.
Can you remember them?
Not really, no. It wouldn't be bad dreams. I get the odd one where you that fallen one. That's the one that does me head in. Oh, yeah, you're bottomless.
The same when you hit the ground, you're dead.
Oh yeah, well okay, well then. Oh, I haven't hit it yet. Not yet, anyway. But no, yeah, no, I don't really remember. No, there'll be no bad dreams. I don't have any.
Never had nightmares over anything you've seen?
No, nothing. No. I have to say, I'm very good at rationalising. Very good at being logical about stuff. So that suits me. Suits my personality as such. Don't get me wrong. Not to say it didn't affect me. Of course it does. But as I said, you had the black humour back in the station, chatting to the lads and all the rest. That's how you used to trash it out, and that was it, you know.
What's the most scared you ever were in your life?
Loads of times. Millions of times. I was there in the night of Lansdowne Ride. I stood underneath the stand. I was getting pelted from above. I was there that night. That was frightening as fuck. I've been in scenarios where you don't know how the fuck you're going to get over, and you do, you know.
Is that addictive?
There's a bit of that in it, yeah. The buzz is the chase, even though it might go tits up or whatever. But the buzz is that you're putting yourself on the line. There's always a buzz in that. Every adrenaline junkie will tell you that, and that's maybe where the skiing comes in now. But no, it's there is a bit of a thrill in it, yeah. You could understand how lads get addicted to it and love the job. You know, absolutely. There's some lads I know that would just live, eat, and drink it. You know, morning, noon, and night. But no, I was able to rationalise it and put it away and leave it in work.
Would you like yourself if you met yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm a bit of crack. You know, I like myself. I like my own. I like being out with me. I like the crack. I like my mates. I like the circle of friends, and I like the buzz that we get off each other and all that. Yeah, I like that. I like the yeah, do yeah.
How many friends have you? Besties.
I've a good 6 or 7 lads, maybe 8 or 9 even, that I get on brilliantly with, famously with. You know,
that's kind of a gift in itself, in life, isn't it?
I wouldn't be living in anybody's ear. Like Derry's sitting across there. I might see Derry for 2 or 3 months, and hey, press it, we meet each other tomorrow. And
I think lads are like that, though.
Lads are, yeah, no, I think lads are generally, yeah, I think they are. And you know, but Derek knows if there's a problem, and vice versa, that we'll be there, forced there for each other. I've some brilliant friends, but the same thing. I don't need to live in their ear. I have my own life at home, my wife and my 2 lads. Well, one of them's gone, but you know, and they have their lives. But if they never need you, you're there. You're 100%. And the same with the family, as with my sister, etc., and my mother. If they ever need that, you're 100% there for them 100% of the time. You know.
What advice would you give to a young guard starting out now?
Oh Jesus. Why did you do it? No, listen, it's the most, at times, the most rewarding job in the world. I couldn't have asked for a better job. I couldn't have asked to meet better people, and you will get that no matter what. Even after day one, you're confused and you're standing there and you're scratching your head and you're going, what the fuck to do this for? You'll meet the best of people. You'll meet the best. You'll see the worst in people, but as a result, you'll get the best of people and you'll see the best in people as a result. So enjoy it. That's it.
Do you ever shit yourself on the bee? Literally.
No, I never shit myself. No. No. There's times you put yourself in positions and you'd be thinking to yourself afterwards, what the fuck was I at, you know? How did you get out of that? Or whatever. And don't get me wrong, I smashed myself up on the broken bones and I done this, that and the other, and you'd be in hospital then afterwards and you go, what the fuck did I do that for? Or, when you get no thanks for it, you know. But that was me and that's the way I was. And I hope that, and there is lads like me as well, but I hope there is one of them lads that other lads enjoyed working with, that God forbid that you were a victim of crime, that I did my best for you. And that, you know, even if I was prepared to put my body on the line if that was the case. And I did. But as a result, listen, I loved every second of it. Every second. Even to the day I retired, I loved every second of it. As I said, it was a conscious decision that was gone in 30 years. I think the job changing definitely helped me go, you know, no regret on that. Missed the boys, missed the crack, missed the sitting in a car talking shite. But the politics of it, no. Don't miss that at all.
What crime do you think's not a crime?
The crime that's not a crime. Well, everything's changing now, especially with drugs and legalisation of drugs. I think we should be a bit more liberal on that. Especially with the likes of hash and all the rest. If they regulated that and taxed it and did it right and you know, let it off, let people have their spliff if they want to, you know, mellow. And that'll take a huge amount of criminality away from it and criminals away from it. There'll be no money in it, and as a result, the government could put a few bob back, the taxes back into the health system if that was the case. Now, I know there's arguments about psychosis, etc., 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 but okay, regulate it. And
they do it with drink.
Exactly, and cigarettes and everything else. Why can't they do it for it? No, I think there's too many do-gooders there stopping it at the moment, but we were a progressive society. We pushed on so well in the last couple of years that there's no reason why we couldn't do it. And I'm sure if some politician took it by the balls and said, here, this is my program, this is what I'm going to go for, I'm sure they'd follow people to follow him, and or him or her, and go with it now at this stage.
Do you like donuts?
What a fucking question. No, we don't. We've no sweet tooth at all, actually.
So it doesn't. That's fake.
No, I know sweet tooth. Well, I don't. And none of the lads I know. We like a cup of tea and a biscuit around 11 o'clock in the morning. Or it has to be about the excitement. But to be back in the station,
no donuts.
Have our 11s and a cup of tea and a chat and talk shite, and that's where the best information comes out, when you're having a cup of tea and talking shite.
Do you ever use green diesel?
Never.
Have you ever caught anyone?
I have an electric car.
You have an electric car? I was thinking you were so cool up until just that moment. Cut there!
But electric car. What a lovely.
Please say it's a Tesla.
No, it's a BMW.
Oh, okay. Why is it?
i4.
All right.
Yeah, lovely car. I like my cars.
Why'd you go electric?
I just fancied the idea of it, and I fucking love the speed in it. It's shocking.
What's your favourite car?
If no money was an object.
Yeah.
Jesus, you have me on that one now. I always fancied the McLaren. The new McLaren, what's it?
P1?
P1, yeah.
P2?
P2.
P2.
I always fancied the look of that. That's a lovely looking car, yeah. I never had a spinning one yet, but I always fancied the look of that.
Did you ever have to get the Criminal Assets Bureau to take everything on someone?
Oh yeah, I was a cab, what's called a cab profiler, and what they do is the part of the training was you go in and you do a week with cab, and they teach you up to identify and process intelligence. So in other words, you're a local gouger, you're living in a mansion down the road, you know you're not working, everybody knows you're not working. You know, my job was to identify them, maybe have a look at his bank, to have a look at stuff, and then pass it on to cab for there.
And you allowed to go into anyone's bank?
No, you have to get an order. You have to have a reason for it to get an order.
Who do you get the order off?
Yeah, George helped me. It was called Section 52 order, yeah.
While you're getting the order, is the person that owns the bank account aware of any of this?
No, they wouldn't be aware, no. You'd be doing it totally secretly. And what you do is you go and get the order, serve it on the bank. The bank Jenny gets 30 days to come with the information you're looking for, and they'll get back to you then with it. That's how it works. And then from that, then you process the information. Sometimes what happens, like, you get suspicious transactions, and the banks will report them back to you, and as a result, you look at it from there then. So you'll serve the 52, even though they give them the information, if you get the information properly, you serve the 52 order back on them, get all the information, then walk backwards from there.
What's the weirdest criminal that you've ever seen? Like, was there anyone going around with AIDS spitting in people's mouths? Or
oh yeah, no, listen, I've been spit at and bit and told the fucking AIDS and all that shit. Yeah, no, that was.
Do you want my AIDS, boy?
No, listen, especially back in the 90s, now was a major fucking thing for them to spit at you or have a syringe or whatever, and no, that's all gone as such, really. Weird. Just before I retired, we got a call to City West Conference Centre. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, microphone.
Yeah.
My microphone, sorry.
I wasn't even minding.
Yeah,
Some
there
man
you
I
go.
am.
You're obviously hearing me, so that's grand. City West Conference Centre, that there was a man with grey hair and very unkempt with a knife in his hand. So we went there, and in fairness...
You were outside in the street eating a steak.
we drove in, and there was this very unkempt man with grey hair, and he had a satchel on him. So we stopped and searched him, and hey, press in the fucking satchel was a knife about 18 inches long. So we said to him, "What do you have the knife for?" And he took the knife and he brushed his beard, and he said, "That's where I brushed my beard with." So he thought there was no problem with him.
He was being honest.
Yes, 100%. Totally eccentric, totally too much brains to burn, whatever was wrong with him. And he'd writings everywhere. He was obviously a very good writer for whatever he was doing. According to him, he had a book out. But he used to brush his beard with a big 18-inch long knife.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and he thought it was all right to walk around doing it. You know.
That's mad.
You'll meet every sort of fucking weirdo, yeah, you do. No, listen, yeah, whatever they're into themselves, but yeah, he needed a knife to brush his beard.
If you could have the perfect life, and on that perfect life you could have a perfect day, what is it?
Perfect life, perfect day. Lie in, get up, watch a 3 o'clock match where Liverpool win. Meet Derek for a pint, because Derek go crack in front of him.
Sure, you golfed.
I know, and he's not bad now in front of him when he wants to be. Meet Derek for a round of golf. No, we go to a pub with Derek, have a few beers, maybe a nice bit of grub afterwards. And then home, watch Netflix in bed. Yeah, very simple life now I have at the moment, yeah.
That's cool.
The easy things, yeah.
Now, it would have been better for views if you had said on the way home, beat a homeless man to death.
No, leave Derek do that. Yeah. He goes around randomly kicking homeless people in yeah, that's what he does. That's his little thing, yeah. No, I have a very simple life, very simple wants at this stage. And no, very content and happy with everything at this moment in time, yeah. Good place to be.
What would you like people to say about you when you die?
Maybe go crack, that'll do me. Don't want that else out of that, yeah. I don't need pat on the back, as I said earlier on. That's not for me. I'm not a man for speeches or anything like that when it comes to it. I'm just very happy to just enjoy everybody's company and have the wind up and the slag and take the piss. I really like doing that. Somebody say something and just latch onto it and then take the piss out of them for the rest of the night. I'd be happy with that, yeah.
That was awesome. Did you enjoy that? Did you think that was a weird thing to do a podcast? Have you ever done one before?
No, never done. I don't even particularly listen. I was always saying to Derek, I'm a very good man for
you
sitting.
Don't listen to me.
Now, listen. This is what I'm saying. I don't generally listen. I'm a great man for sitting on YouTube and looking at bits and pieces, all right. But sitting down and actually physically sticking earphones in and sitting and listening to a podcast, I don't generally do.
Well, 100% disclosure, I have used Green Diesel. Just saying.
Revenue commissioners, are you listening?
Look, it was a long time ago. I think there's a time limit on sort of them things. And look, if you're looking for me now, you know where I am.
It's probably statute barred at this stage, yeah.
We got caught anyway.
You got caught. More revenue issue, not a guard issue. Always paid the tax man. I always say that. Always paid the tax man. Yeah.
But look, I'll put you on Instagram.
I'm not on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn.
Then I suppose if you're a private investigator, you don't want to be on Instagram.
No, just the thing. And
today I'm outside this house. I'm gonna catch this motherfucker.
Part of the problem, or part of the thing with the fraud course you're doing, the social engineering that goes on by having your stuff on social media is shocking.
What do you mean?
The amount of information that we gathered just by you being on Facebook and everybody knowing what you're having for your dinner and what football team you like and when you go to the pub and, you know, you're away on your holidays and who you travel with and all the rest. And all that information is...
Aren't I lucky I have no life?
Yeah, but it's all worth money to somebody somewhere along the line. So as some criminal organisation will pay for that information. And as a result, it's there and it's there forever. So that's why I'm not on social media other than LinkedIn. And my webpage is camaraderie.ie. If anybody's looking for somebody to look at something, I'll be there for you. And that's the plan, is to ease into this and enjoy it and do as much as I can and become a multi-millionaire very shortly and retire to the Costello. So
You're a legend of a man, and thanks very much. And I can tell you, when you are a multi-millionaire,
yes, Davey,
you better be going around carrying Uzis and stuff.
No. Get somebody to do it for me.
That's the guy who's behind you with the little yolks in the ears.
Yeah, speaking into their wrist.
Thanks a million. You're a legend.
Thank you, Dave. Cheers, man.
Good luck.
Pleasure.